I just want to say, first and foremost, thanks for being here, player. For some reason, the YouTube videos that I've been watching on how to grow my YouTube are all telling me to do this, even though it's cringy. If you're on YouTube, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already hit the subscribe button, because today's all about you. I'm so grateful for you guys. Thank you all for being here. It means the world to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Who do we got up in here real quick? If you're watching this later on YouTube, this is a live stream that I'm posting later as a standalone video. You can catch me live streaming Monday mornings, Wednesday afternoons, and Friday afternoons. Thursdays, I do stream on Kick. This week will be the first week that we will have a subscriber-only stream on Kick Thursday evening, and Queen Trip is even going to be there. This one is going to be fun. I'm gonna have Queen Trip pull up some charts and stuff. We're gonna maybe make a little slideshow of some stuff we've been interested in lately. Any sort of topics you would be interested in hearing on that Kick only stream on Thursday, please drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Facebook, what's up, dude? How are you guys doing today? What's up, Lacey? We got Lacey over here on YouTube. Melissa is currently not subbed. You are right. If on Kick, if you have a green star next to your name, that means that you are subscribed. Trippy Manda Panda, what's up? If you want to subscribe for yourself on Kick, you have to do it through the web browser. The app will only allow you to gift subs. But yeah. Hell yeah, we got 2 people up over here on YouTube. Thanks, YouTube. We've got freaking 4 people up over here on Facebook. Nobody said anything on Facebook yet. They're all just quiet. 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 Facebook is quiet over here. If you wanted to, just to get the algorithm going, we can go ahead and just start this stream off fantastically with something you're grateful for. Because in today's day and age where they just want to bombard us with nothing that is love and positive, it's all fear, anxiety, deceit. Something that would be amazing is if you could just comment whatever you're grateful for, because at the end of the day, I'd say it every stream, I'm really grateful for every single person who even clicked on this video. Like, serious. You guys are the ones that are allowing me and assisting me and guiding me and influencing me and encouraging me and supporting me and loving me. And none of this would all be possible without you, guy or girl, on the other side of this. I really want to tell you, if nobody's told you today I love you, I'm proud of you. I'm just overwhelmed with love. And I have a I have an enlarged heart, not as like a medical problem, but as that it just, just the love spreads. You know, I just want to wake up and just try my best to help people feel loved. So if you're new here to the stream, check this out. First thing I like to do is just bring everybody up on in here, say hello, say how's it going. And then we get into this an opening message, which I like to call like a mindful message, just something that no matter how long you watch the video for, at least the beginning portion of it, I try my best to give it my all, so where you can take something with you when you close out of the app, something for your heart, something for your soul, something for your conscious, eternal, divine self that you are, perfectly imperfect and right where you're supposed to be. And then we're going to go up over onto X. We're going to look at some clips that are fluctuating on the internet about things that are applicable. And then I think we're actually going to go and read a book that's on mindunveiled.com. It's in his occult library. It's called The History of Magic. And then after that, we're going to dissect this, we're going to dissect of a video that is with Jay Shetty and Big Sean. You know Big Sean, the rapper? About a year ago, he had a podcast that for some reason just made me think of it the last few days. And I just really was struck by what Big Sean has to say, and I hope to see you there. And then at the very end of the stream, let me just do this now for everybody who is up in here. The very end of every live stream is a Kick only stream. That's where we do like breath work. We just check in and talk and chat. It's kind of a decompress from the whole entire stream. But I'm trying to build my Kick channel, if you can't tell. So that's where we'll be for the last portion of the stream. The real ones, the real Team Human people, the people who are really involved. Obviously, just because you're not involved in a Kick stream doesn't mean that you're not on Team Human. I'm just saying, like, the people who are on, like, really about us, this thing that we are simultaneously creating from all sorts of places all over the planet. It's just kind of a check-in at the end to where I can actually have conversation with you and the individuals who are talking and chatting and all that stuff, the people that are here. I take that back. I didn't mean to say the real ones, the ones that are us. I just meant to say the ones that wanted to just kind of have like a debrief, I guess you could say. Yep, we got that Grateful Dead shirt. What's up? You know what I'm saying? I wear tie-dyes every day, bro. Almost every day, because realistically, if I'm thinking about it, fuck, I just think that tie-dyes are like a hippie uniform, you know what I mean? I just show up and represent that I'm light, pretty much, that I'm light. Yeah, the kick strings, you're right, Melissa. They're more intimate, that's correct. More intimate. They mean it's more or less that it's just like one-on-one. There's no real videos we're going to talk about. It's just going to be me talking to you guys while you all are chatting with us. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's something I need to really hone in on and actually have more connection, more depth, more conversation, actually hear what you guys have to say. So I hope to see you on Kick at the end of the stream. If you do come over from a different platform over to Kick, please just put a green, a red, and a yellow heart so I know that you came from a separate platform. So me and all the other individuals that are up in Kick, we can say hello. But let's just get right up into today. This one is a banger. This one's about coming home to yourself. Cheers. What if the life that you are trying so hard to build cannot fully arrive until you become a safe place for the person who is building it? Because a lot of people think that they need like a new life, new money, new love, new circumstances, new confidence, new proof that they matter, new evidence that they're finally worthy of peace. But what they really need is to stop abandoning themselves every time life starts to get uncomfortable. And if that hits, you can just comment the words coming home, because you cannot create a peaceful life while you are consistently at war with yourself. You cannot call in healthy love while you keep leaving yourself to keep everybody else comfortable. You cannot ask for a life of clarity without filling every quiet second with noise. You cannot become who you were meant to be while you are treating the version of you that exists today like a problem to fix. This is where we're going to begin. Not with the dramatic reinvention, not with a new identity, not with pretending that you have everything already figured out. We're literally going to begin with a return. A return to the part of you that has been waiting for you to stop running. Because some of you have gotten so good at surviving that you don't even notice when you're leaving yourself. You leave yourself when you say yes while your body is screaming no. You leave yourself when you keep explaining your needs to people who already have shown you that they don't even care to understand them. You leave yourself when you call exhaustion being productive. You leave yourself when you call anxiety being responsible. You leave yourself when you call people pleasing being loved. And you most certainly leave yourself when you call shutting down being strong. How many of you guys feel like you leave yourself? Maybe a lot, maybe not so often. How many of you guys feel like you leave yourself every time you silence your own truth to make someone else more comfortable? I know why. You did not start doing that because you're weak. You learned it somewhere, bro. Maybe you learned that being easy to manage was safer than being honest. Maybe you learned that you had to overgive to feel loved. Maybe you learned that your emotions were inconvenient sometimes. Maybe you learned that needing help made you feel like you were a burden. Maybe you learned that the rest was dangerous because the second you stopped moving, you had the feeling that you were sorry, let me say that again. Maybe you learned that rest was dangerous because the second that you stopped moving, you had to feel everything that you've been carrying. So you become capable. You become useful. You become funny. You become independent. You become the person who says, I'm good, even when your soul is quietly begging someone to ask you one more time. And that version of you deserves compassion, dude, because they got you here. But they do not have to run your life forever, because survival is not the same thing as safety. A lot of us were taught to survive by staying quiet, staying useful, staying busy, staying agreeable, and never needing too much from anyone. We learned how to read a room before we learned how to even read our own bodies. We learned how to make everybody else feel comfortable before we learned we made everybody else feel comfortable before we learned that we deserve comfort too. So now when we are overwhelmed, we keep moving. When we are hurt, we pretend that it doesn't matter. When we are exhausted, we push harder. When someone crosses a boundary, we tell ourselves not to make it a big deal out of it. And when we need support, we convince ourselves that we should be able to handle it alone. That may have helped you survive a season of your life, but it is not the same thing as being safe. Safety is when you no longer betray yourself just to get through the day. It is when you can tell the truth about how you feel without immediately shaming yourself for even having feelings. It's when you can say no without believing that you have become unlovable. It is when you can rest without feeling like you need to earn the right to be a human. Safety is when your body begins to understand that it does not have to stay braced for impact all the time. It is when you stop treating every quiet moment like a threat. It's when you stop filling every empty space with noise because silence might bring you face to face with what you have been carrying. It is when you realize that being strong doesn't mean disappearing inside of yourself. Being strong can mean admitting, this hurt me. Being strong can mean asking for help. Being strong can mean slowing down before your body has to force you to. Being strong can mean choosing peace over familiar chaos that once felt like home. And I know, at first glance, all of this can sound terrifying. Because when you have lived in survival mode for so long, peace starts to feel unfamiliar. Being treated gently can feel suspicious. Rest can feel irresponsible. A healthy boundary can feel like rejection. And a stable relationship can feel more boring because you were taught that love had to be confusing to be real. But the unfamiliar is not always unsafe. Sometimes the unfamiliar is simply what healing feels like before you've learned to trust it. This is the beginning of the return, not a return to who you were before life hurt you. That would mean you were going backwards. You're returning to the part of you that underneath the roles, underneath the coping mechanisms, underneath the performance, underneath the belief that you have to earn your right to exist peacefully, you're returning to a self that knows, I do not have to fight myself to be safe. That's real spiritual work, homie. Because spirituality is not about meditation, manifestation, crystals, prayer, breath work, rituals, or quotes, even though they are tremendously helpful. Those things can help. I'll say that again. But spirituality becomes real when you learn how to stay with yourself when you're anxious, when you feel ashamed, when you are lonely, when you've made a mistake, when somebody disappoints you, when you feel rejected, when your life is not going according to plan. Now, let me ask, can you actually stay with yourself in those moments? Can you stay present with yourself without needing to punish yourself? Can you stay compassionate with yourself without turning compassion into avoidance? Can you hold your own hand through a hard moment instead of immediately running toward whatever distracts you, numbs you, impresses you, or temporarily comforts you? That is what it means to become a safe place for yourself. And no, it does not mean that you will never need people. You're allowed to need people. You're allowed to want love. You're allowed to need help. You're allowed to need a hug, a conversation, a therapist, a friend, a community, a moment where someone reminds you that you are not carrying life alone. Becoming safe for yourself is not becoming isolated. It means that you stop making other people responsible for rescuing the parts of you that you refuse to sit with. It means that you stop handing somebody else the keys to your peace. It means when they take too long to text you back, you don't instantly turn that into evidence that they don't love you anymore. It means that when they cannot meet you where you are, you do not have to collapse into a version of yourself that believes that you're too much. It means when someone leaves, disappoints you, or misunderstands you, or fails to choose you, you can grieve it without leaving yourself behind with them. That's where your power is, bro. Not controlling whether they stay. Knowing that you will stay with you no matter what. And that's the core of this week. Today, we expose where most people abandon themselves. The tiny moments, the automatic moments, the moments that feel normal because you have practiced them for so long. Wednesday, we're going to go deeper. We're going to talk about how to hold yourself when those hard emotions arise and not to suppress them, not spiritualize them away, not dump them on everybody around you either. We're going to learn on Wednesday how to hold them. Learn how to tell your nervous system, I'm here, I can feel this. We are not in danger just because we're uncomfortable. I've said this so many times before. Growth happens when you're uncomfortable, bro. And Friday, we're actually going to talk about self-trust. Because once you stop abandoning yourself and learn how to hold yourself, you begin to trust yourself again. You stop asking everyone else, what should I do? You stop needing a sign for every single decision. You stop confusing indecision with humility. You begin to hear your own inner voice, your own inner yes, your own inner no, your own truth. But for today, we begin right here. And if you feel compelled to, please comment your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear your answers to these. But I want you to ask yourself honestly, where do I say that I am fine when it is not? Where do I keep accepting less because I'm afraid of having nothing? Where do I make myself smaller to fit inside rooms that my spirit has already outgrown? Where do I keep old wounds alive because without it, I'm afraid that I don't know who I am? Where do you keep choosing what is familiar over what is peaceful? You don't have to answer all of these at once, and you don't even have to comment all of your answers. I just want you to think about it, because you don't have to fix your entire life before dinner. You just have to see one place where you've been leaving yourself. Just one place. Maybe it's your inner dialogue. Maybe it's the way you speak to your body. Maybe it's in your relationship. Maybe it's the promise to yourself that you keep breaking. Maybe it's the way that you keep numbing out instead of resting. Maybe it's the way that you fill every single silent moment because you're afraid of what you might hear if things get quiet. And all of those questions were just to plant a seed so you could see it. And instead of saying, wow, I'm terrible, I keep doing this over and over again, you can just change your perspective 1 degree. I see why I learned this. I honor that part of me that was trying to survive, but I'm ready to choose safety differently now. And then do one small thing that proves it. Drink water because your body deserves care. Take a breath before answering the message. Say, let me get back to you instead of agreeing when you feel pressured. Go outside for 5 minutes. Put your phone down. Tell the truth about how you actually feel. Rest without creating a court case in your mind of why you have earned it. Do the small thing. Because small things are how trust is rebuilt. You do not rebuild trust with yourself through huge promises that you can't keep. You don't rebuild it by becoming reliable to your own soul. You say you will take care of yourself, and then you do one real ordinary thing. You say that you will listen to your body, and then you pause when it says that it's tired. You say that you will not abandon yourself, and then you choose truth over fear of being misunderstood. That is the sacred promise. That is spiritually divine. And every single time you honor it, something inside of you begins to unclench. That part of you that has been braced for betrayal starts realizing, maybe I'm not alone anymore because I have me. So today, let this be your declaration. I will no longer abandon myself to be accepted. I will no longer confuse survival for safety. I will no longer treat my needs like they are an inconvenience. I will learn to sit with myself. I will learn to listen to myself. I will learn to hold myself. And becoming a safe place for my own soul, bro. Isn't that honestly what all of us want? Is just to become a safe place for ourselves? Because you don't need to become someone else to begin healing. You need to become someone who just finally says, I choose me. And if this reached any single part of you, you can just comment the words, I choose to stay. I love you, Team Human. Shit, boy. Damn, Gina. I'm on fire today. Shit, boy. We're already on fire today. What's up? Who's up on YouTube? I see some YouTubers. What's up, YouTubers? What's up, YouTubers? What's up, Facebook? What's up, Monica Canada, Quake Trip? What's up, motherfucking Menace? What's up, Scruffmeister, Lacey Lane, Melissa Clark? What's up, Jariful Haki? I'm doing great, bro. What's up, dude? Who do we got up in here? What's up, Jupiter Mission? What's good? What's good? Hell yeah, we're up in this motherfucker. Shit, boy. Shit, my dude. Fuck, dude. All right, yeah, I'm a weird-ass dude. Just giving you a heads up. If it's your first time here, buckle up, buddy. We're about to have a blast today. You guys ready for today? We got some shit. Can we get some Team Humans in the chat for everybody who's up in here? Marie Moon, I love you. I hope that you're safe. I pray for you. I was really worried about you last night when you were talking about the fire. C. Dean's in the house. What's up, dude? What's up, dude? Eternity's up in the house. What's up, dude? We got so many people up over on Kick. Let's go. Just know if you're on Facebook or on YouTube, there's a link that's pinned to the top of your chat over to Kick. Kick is just a streaming platform that prioritizes the creator versus profits. There's no ads over on Kick. You know? So yeah, if you are Hell yeah, Jupiter. I appreciate that. Dina Miller, what's up? What's up? Like I said, there's a link pinned to the top of each of your chats. It's a link to Kick. If you go over to Kick, just drop a red, a green, and a yellow heart over there. The end of the stream is a Kick only stream. It's kind of like a debrief. We decompress. It's like a one-on-one. We have a more intimate conversation, so I can actually talk to you guys that are here. We got a banger today. So let's just get right up in here. Let me just get right up in here. Cheers, mate. Cheers, mate. Cheers, mate. Cheers, top of the morning to you, partner. Hello there, governor. Can we get some poop emojis in the chat for everybody who's up in here? I pray for all those families, Marie Moon. What's up, Dina? Jarfo, what's up, Monica? We got a whole squad up in here, mate. Top of the morning to ya. The coffee went down there too fast, and now you've got to poop, do ya? You've got to take a poop, do ya? All right. Check this out, you guys. This shit is so funny, bro. I'm sorry. If you didn't watch the Candace Owens, Andrew Wilson podcast, then you probably won't necessarily get this, but I think it's super funny. I think it's funny, honestly, how most people are saying that a lot of people who are saying that Andrew one never even watched the whole podcast because he got destroyed. Let's just watch this, though.
Wait, I can explain.
Shabbat shalom, Andrew.
What?
We invested a lot in you.
I was having nicotine withdrawal. The chair was uncomfortable. I barely slept. My foot.
Silence!
She asked you to name one of the 7 charges. You said positive evidence 47 times.
It was a framework.
47 times, Andrew. Bring me the jar.
No. No, please, not the pickles.
Oh, dang. What's up, C. Dean? C. Dean just gifted 5 subs on Kick. Thank you so much, C. Dean. Hell yeah. Thank you so much. Wait, with Ian's help. Oh, what do you mean with Ian's help? Don't tell me you're friends with Ian. Are you friends with Ian? I want to be friends with Ian. I'm playing around, bro. Ian's a goat, bro. Yeah, he did a stream, bro. He makes so many points. He asked me as a Ian Carroll fan to do this, and so I should do this. You should go watch Ian Carroll's video he did where he breaks down the whole entire debate between Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson. He just asked if everybody who sees it would just, share it, talk about it. I worry for him. If we could just put some hearts in the chat for Ian Carroll. I think that I hope he's in good health. If you don't know, you don't know, but I just hope he's in good health. Alrighty. Oh, check this out. Do you guys agree with this? What's up, Social Mouse? I see you. Okay, so did you see that the U.S. Iran agreed to extend to a 60-day ceasefire? It's like fucking 40 times, 50 times this has happened now. Do you actually believe there's a ceasefire? Did you hear about the 800 drones that fucking Ukraine launched into Russia? Things are getting crazy. Things are getting wild. Things are getting crazy. Things are getting wild. Things are getting crazy. Crazy. Okay, so just to let you know, just a heads up and Kick again. The gifting of subs is for some reason the only thing you can do inside of the app. In order to purchase your own sub in Kick, you have to go through the web browser. Just giving you all a heads up. How y'all doing today? What's goody? I just wanted to talk about that. It seems quite insane to me that there's oh, this is June footage. What a silly ass dude. But this says they signed another agreement. Let me see here. Is this old? I just saw something saying that the U.S. and Iran agreed to a ceasefire. Is that true or no?
From what I found, the U.S. and Iran have been involved in a series of negotiations and temporary ceasefires throughout 2026. They signed a 14-point memorandum of understanding earlier in the year that declared a temporary halt to military operations and set a 60-day negotiation window. However, the success of these agreements has been fragile. Some reports say that nearly all of the memorandums...
I'm sorry, scratch that. This is old. I didn't even see this June footage. I thought this was new footage. I apologize. Do you forgive me? Please forgive me. I didn't mean to bring some old bullshit. You heard?
Me.
Let's just hear what she has to say.
Kill people and enslave American want to destroy an American community and kill people and enslave them with debt.
So if I want to change the economy and I want to change it from a democratic republic to a essentially an oligarchy,
A totalitarian surveillance state. Can we get poop emojis in the chat? Poop emojis in the chat if you think that they want to turn this democracy into a totalitarian fucking slavery surveillance state.
then what I need to do is I need to consolidate wealth, and I need to reduce the general population to a group of people who are much easier to control. So let me go back. In 1995, there was an effort made by the people who I would describe as leading the financial.
What's up, Dina Bob? Thank you for coming over to Kick. Dina Bob, what's up? Mouse, thank you so much for the subscription. We love you. Thank you. Let's go.
System to try and put the country on a financially sound basis. And it failed and ended up at the end of 1995 in a 3-week shutdown of the government. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes,
it was during the Clinton administration. Well. And it was described to me by the president of the largest pension fund in the country several years later. He said, "You don't understand. They've given up. They've given up on the country, and they're moving all the money out starting in the fall." And that was when the $21 trillion started to go missing, compounded by the $29 trillion that went out on the bailouts. I think what happened was when they failed to achieve a real fiscally responsible approach to the federal balance sheet, that they decided to do two things. One, they decided to do a financial coup in a process where instead of the bankers just running monetary policy, they could then run fiscal policy. And I think the second thing they decided to do is if you can't balance the budget with financial responsibility, you can balance the budget by lowering life expectancy.
What?
So if you...
Whoa, wait a second. That gives me chills. The financial institutions decided that they were going to run a financial coup and basically sell out the American people while stealing all of our money. And the only way that they could figure out to fix that was to lower the life expectancy. How would they do that? I'm telling you right now, if we just do a little thought experiment right now, talking about the fact that they had a plan to fix their financial theft, basically, is to lower the life expectancy. Please, can you just comment one thing you think that they did that maybe resonates with you about what did they do to drop the life expectancy? Is it high fructose corn syrup? Is it the chemtrails? Is it the forever chemicals in all of our stuff? Is it the microplastics? Is it the jab? Was it the virus? Do you know what I mean? Is it the artificial dyes? Is it all the petroleum-based products? Is it the fact that there's like carcinogen type compounds inside of sunscreen? What is it? It just seems sus to me that she's saying this. And then if you really subjectively just look at the information, it definitely seems as if like this is happening in real time. We're able to like acknowledge all of it. Our water's poisoned. Our air's poisoned. Our mental health is being poisoned. Our soul is being poisoned. They want to freaking make us scared all the time and anxious and worried and catastrophic and never feel peace. Because why? Oh yeah, because cortisol, your stress hormone, is like the number one leading cause next to inflammation for diseases that kill you. Weird.
If you can't fund the pension and retirement system with enough money to meet your obligations, you can meet your obligations by lowering life expectancy. And I think a conscious decision was made to do that. That literally right after the budget deal sort of busted, two decisions were made. One was to...
King Via, what's up? What's up, King Via? How's it going? I didn't know you were... I've never seen you before. What's up, dude? I love you. I'm happy you're here.
Approve OxyContin and open the pill mills. The second was all sorts of policies that permitted HUD and other mortgage predatory lending. And that happened right as they also made the decision to do the private prisons, and they kept flooding the neighborhoods with drugs. And if you look at...
Whoa. Wait a second. I didn't even make that connection. What about the fucking... the fact that we have documented proof that for the fucking last 5 decades, there has been what seems to be like a coordination between governments, Canada, America, and Mexico, to just allow tons and tons and tons of narcotics to come through. Like, and then the fact that they just like allowed everybody to like start privatizing prisons and then flood the communities with drugs, which then the drug dealers, the drug users are getting arrested before pedophiles. And then like the drug user gets sent to prison and the pedophile gets probation. It seems kind of ass backwards, doesn't it? What do you think?
The combination of the pill mills, the predatory lending, narcotics trafficking coming in. Again, this is all covered in my online book. You know, it dramatically started to steadily reduce life expectancy, particularly in the lower income groups. And I knew it was coming.
Okay, now we can just make another connection of how they're fucking poisoning us and if they're specifically targeting the low income groups. Why is it that all of the food that's actual poison, that's like made with weird chemicals, grown in a lab, pesticides, fucking plastics inside of it, how come it's the cheapest? How come the healthiest foods for you is the most expensive? Oh, that's why, because they don't want people to be able to afford healthy food, so that you're forced to eat poison. You're forced to drink Pepsi. Nothing against Pepsi. I do believe that soda pop is filled with high fructose corn syrup, which is basically just diabetes water. That's what I believe. But do you know what I'm trying to get at? Like, why is it that when you walk into a grocery store, a store that sells predominantly food, there's only one section of it that says, hey, this is real food? Now, they say organic. There's lots of different words that they use and phrases to try and make you think that it's more real than the rest. But even out of the organic stuff, you still have to take into consideration their attempts to poison that, you know? How is it that you walk into a store and then there's like, this is where the real stuff is, and then everything else is filled the store? That means that like what, 97% of the store is poisonous?
And one of the reasons I kept talking with everybody about the missing money is I knew that it would hit the middle income groups. It was just a matter of time. And I remember, I always tell the story of talking to Dr. Mark Skidmore, who had worked with me on the missing money. I was sitting in a car in Bolivar, Tennessee. I was doing errands. And he kept saying to me, why do you keep bringing up all the money that's going missing from the federal government? Why don't you give up on this? And I said, don't you understand, Mark, if we don't do something about this, they're going to take radical steps of lowering life expectancy. And that was in 2018. And of course, you know, COVID hit in 2020. And what did we get? We got a whole series of actions that continued to lower life expectancy, but this time in the middle and upper middle class groups.
Imagine that reducing population either through shortening their lives or preventing them from being born in the first place. I mean, that's official U.S. policy, of course.
Right.
Abortion, euthanasia, drugs.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Let's just go for Canada. How many citizens of Canada have used this medically assisted self-neutralization to voluntarily leave this planet, let their life go, take themselves out? I just don't want to say the specific word, you know?
I hear that you're asking about the number of people in Canada who have used medical assistance in dying or MAID. It's a sensitive topic, so I want to approach it with care. If you or someone you know is feeling distressed or struggling, I encourage reaching out to a trusted professional or support line. Would you like me to look up the latest official
I
statistics?
just want to know how many individuals have went through with MAID.
Sure, I can share the latest figures from Health Canada's annual report. In 2024, there were 16,499 medically assisted deaths in Canada, about 5.1% of all deaths that year. As of November 2025, roughly 76,000 Canadians had chosen medical assistance in dying since the legislation was introduced in 2016. I know this could be a sensitive topic, so
How about 2026 so far?
I couldn't find official government statistics for 2026 so far. Most recent data available is for 2024, which reported 16,499 people receiving medical assistance in dying.
Okay, so in 2024 and 2025 was 16,000 and 74,000. So you're saying just in 2024 and 2025, close to 100,000 humans decided that they needed to end their life using medical assistance.
I hear that you're trying to understand the numbers, and it's a heavy topic. The official data shows that in 2024, Canada reported about 16,499 people who received medical assistance in dying. I wasn't able to find official numbers for
100,000 people. You're telling me they're not trying to get rid of us? You're telling me there's 100,000 people that decided that they wanted to end their life. You don't think that the doctors are pushing this? You don't think that there's this situation where you're in a fucking doctor's office and you're talking about your mental health, and instead of bringing up a prescription, the doctor says, you know, John, we do, I don't even know how to say this. We do have another program. This one would actually get rid of all of your pain. Like, imagine what your mental health issues are doing to your family. Don't you want your family to be peaceful? Imagine how your kids are going to grow up while you just deal with these mental health issues. We have this program that will allow you to just go to sleep and just never wake up. What the fuck? 100,000 people.
But I've always sort of wondered why. And do you think it's because that's the only way to get the country solvent?
So I think it's a combination of things. First of all, you have, again, we have this.
Okay, I'm being corrected by someone who lives in Canada. Let me correct that. These doctors, in order to recommend it to mentally to people who have mental health issues, it didn't pass. They're not allowed to do that. It said they did. Marie said they did try to make it available to mentally ill patients, but that specific didn't pass. So they got 100,000 people to do it that weren't mentally ill. Think about that. That's even more crazy. They're not allowed to talk about people who are having mental health issues. They got 100,000 people who don't have mental health issues to do it. Imagine how much larger that number would be if the doctors were able to manipulate people with low mental health into ending their life.
Explosive new technology. And I think you have a lot of people in the leadership who believe, first of all, it's very difficult to manage people, particularly if they get their hands on this technology. But they also believe they're going to live for a long, long time. Jared Kushner, when he left the first Trump administration, did a podcast and said, I'm the first generation to live forever, the last generation to not live forever. Sean Parker, one of the co-founders of Facebook, said, I'm a billionaire, so I'm going to live to 145. If the oligarchs are going to live to 145, one of the things they know is not everybody can do that, or you're going to have an environmental problem, right? Right. So part of it is that. But I also think with robotics and automation, they think they don't need a lot of people, and a lot of people are hard to manage.
Yeah.
Now,
So inevitably, she's basically saying a lot of people are hard to manage. We're going to live forever and we're going to take out everyone else. Correct me if I'm wrong.
if you look at what they're doing to build a control grid, clearly they think if they can accomplish that, it's going to make it much easier to manage a lot of people. But frankly, they don't necessarily want them around. They don't need them. And so I do believe that many of them feel they would be much better off with much lower populations.
I think.
Who are the people? Who is it? Who is it? Who is it? We all know that Bill Gates has made comments about depopulation. Who are the people that they would get rid of? It's definitely the Goyim. You heard me? Most of these chats are going to mod it if you try to say it, but can you guys just write it? One word, goy fish.
That's obviously true. We asked, though, about what role a global war would play in that. So, like, on the one hand, obviously war reduces population. And if you wanted to clear the Ukrainians out of Ukraine, leaving only the resources and Indian immigrants, you would do what they are doing. I get it. But once you start pushing up against the possibility of a nuclear exchange, a total war, a global war, then don't you, and which they are doing knowingly, and I don't know if it's reckless or intentional or what exactly it is, but they know that we're moving toward global war and they're not slowing down. The Trump administration and all the people who support it.
Right.
Don't you kind of risk your own plans by doing that? That seems very much like a dice roll.
So there are a couple theories. I think there's some people who, do want to bring on Armageddon. That's a cultural and religious.
Wait a second. Wait. There are people who want to bring on Armageddon? Oh, it's the juice. Like apple juice? Not apple juice. Apple juice is separate from that. Apple juice is a legend. But it's the orange juice. You know what I'm saying? The kiwi juice. It's those people right there, bro. It's the juice. O.J. Simpson? Did you know they used to call him the juice? Anyways. They want to build the third temple. That's like their Armageddon prophecy to bring in their Messiah. And in order for that to happen, I'm pretty sure their prophecy says that every single country in the world has to be at war with Israel. It seems as if we're almost trying, like the programming in the Matrix right now is trying to get you to hate Israel. Can you see that? Or is that just me? Why are they allowing everyone to slowly start to hate Israel, but they didn't want doctors to talk about ivermectin? That's just a interesting perspective.
Cross section of some of the people involved. But the other thing is, if you've been responsible for the dollar system, and you know how dangerous an improper or a difficult unraveling of the dollar system could be for most of the countries around the world, you know how an unraveling could kill and hurt and maim, then you will go to extreme lengths and kill many, many people to avoid that.
Kyle Finnegan, what's up, bro? I just saw you. Click the link that's pinned to the top of your chat. It'll bring you over to Kick where everybody else is at, brother.
You know, and part of it is if you're used to having power.
I actually have no idea why I said brother. Brother.
Or you do not want to convert to a meritocracy. I mean, the way to solve, you know, I just told you the thing you just did on how to save America. I think it's one of the best things you've ever done. And if, in theory,
Where did I hear about ivermectin? Well, honestly, I started hearing about ivermectin when they changed Joe Rogan's face to make him look sick and then spun a media propaganda to make it seem like he was ill from the ivermectin. That's when I first started to hear about it.
We all woke up tomorrow and followed your 10 principles of, you know, in our own lives, in our own family, in our own community, we could see an unbelievably explosive wealth creation. I mean, one of the things I want to stress is tyranny is very, very wasteful. And the potential for wealth explosion, if we could somehow, you know, behave like we were an advanced civilization, is an extraordinary opportunity. But it's going to result in a meritocracy. And if you look at the people running things, they have no interest in competing in a meritocracy.
Yes.
Because they're going to lose, right?
Yeah.
And the nature of their situation is, you know, when people in their situation lose, they...
Real quick, I need to ask a question because I don't know what that word means in full. Can you please give me the definition of a meritocracy?
Sure thing. A meritocracy is a system, whether political, social, or economic, where people are assigned positions of power, influence, or reward based on their abilities and achievements, rather than their wealth, social connections, or background. It emphasizes the idea that success comes from talent, effort, and merit, with an underlying belief in equality of opportunity.
Oh, so that's like how America used to be, right?
I hear you're thinking about the idea that America once operated purely on merit. In reality, societies are complex. While meritocracy is an ideal many strive for, there have always been other factors at play, like historical inequalities or structural barriers.
Stupid.
get killed and their families get killed. So you know, they are at the point where they would do control. I remember
the reason I now know that he meant like merit, but for some reason I heard Americatocracy or something. That's what I thought he said. America, you know what I mean?
One group telling me about a group during the 80s when Iran-Contra was really getting out of hand, talking about they had started to make plans about dropping exploding a suitcase nuke in the middle of Chicago, just to distract. Remember
Wait a second. They talked about blowing up a nuke in Chicago for a distraction? Holy fuck.
One of the goals of war is to control the domestic population. And we are now approaching a time where whether you have a war or you get the control grid, controlling the domestic population is going to be very difficult.
Because I will not comply. I will not comply. Are you going to comply? I'm not complying. Oh yeah, Hayden Pantier has died at age 36. 3 months ago, she described a pretty disturbing situation. We're going to listen to what she had to say.
All of them. Is all of them. all of them.
You write about a moment in your career where a friend of yours takes you onto a boat. You're led to a room which has an older man in it, and then basically told to perform sexual acts, and
Oh yeah, perspective completely shifted, and I realized that I was in danger. But by the time I realized I was in danger, I was quite literally out to sea, and it was that moment shook me. It was shocking, and I was quite literally walked down, and I had been having a great time. There was no hints of anything like that happening, so it took me. I was shocked. It took me by surprise, and it was led by somebody that I had grown to trust and see as a protector and somebody who had my back. And to be walked down, down the stairs, and it was as like a surprise, presented as though it was like a surprise. And it was this very small room, and she physically put me in the bed next to this undressed man who was very famous, and had his hands like this, like this was just an average day for him. This is something that happens all the time. And I waited for her to leave, and I mean that lion in me, that fire in me, that
And now she's dead. You think she was talking about G-Max and Epstein? It sounds like it. But just because it's may or may not be them, which that's just an alleged for me. I have no idea who it is, but it just sounds like that. And you'd have to think that these type of situations would be replicated over and over again in just like the female-male dynamic, where the woman is the one that gains the trust of the victims to bring them to the perpetrator. Well, they're both perpetrators, but it's kind of crazy, right? Now she is no longer here. She passed away yesterday. It's quite sad. Oh yeah. Do you guys know who Ben Gavir is? You're going to need to read the subtitles on this one. Let's just listen to what he has to say. I think that targeted assassinations should be carried out in Gaza every night. Take down 30 to 40. Not only those who endanger you. We gotta run that back.
זה לא סוד, אני חלקתי על ראש הממשלה, אני חושב שצריך לעשות סיכולים ממוקדים בעזה, כל לילה להוריד 30-40. לא רק אלה שמסכנים אותך לאותו רגע. אין, יש שם אנשים שהם לא בחיים, הם לא צריכים לחיות, הם לא אנשים...
Wait, he literally just said, not even the ones that endanger you. We should just kill 30 to 40 Gazans every single night, just because they don't deserve life. That's pretty, it makes me sad, actually. Israeli forces should kill 30 to 40 people in Gaza every night. Fuck, it just hits different when they say it, And nobody believes. Nobody wants to take into consideration. Okay, Project Constitution, shout out Project Constitution. The same Egyptian presidential plane that Candace Owens flagged in Provo the day Charlie Kirk was assassinated was sitting on the tarmac right next to Air Force One.
The Egyptian president Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. I interviewed him early after he took over in June of 2014. He has always wanted to be at the center of some of the Middle East.
Weird. It's all so freaking weird. Who's up in here? What's up, guys? What's goody in the hoodie? How are y'all doing on this lovely Monday morning? We're here. We're up in it. We're an hour deep, bro. We're an hour deep. What's good, motherfucking menace? Monica Canada's in the house. Jupiter Mission. I don't know if you're still here or you're still walking with your dog. We got Melissa Clark in here. Hell yeah. Time flies when you're having fun. You're right, Marie Moon. Hell yeah. Can I get a hell yeah? Okay. On to the next section. Sometimes I get riled up, dude. I get riled up looking on the internet, bro. Like, seriously, if I like just those little clips that we were watching, sometimes I was just getting fucking bugged out, bro. Like, we can see that they want to kill us, bro. They want to eradicate the goy fish so that they can bring in Armageddon and the return of their Messiah. But I found a book. I like books. I can see that. I think that it is a trial surveillance place. Once they destroy it and rebuild it, they're going to rebuild a complete surveillance place, and that'll be like the first. It potentially might be just like the first little experiment, just like the American experiment. What's up, Alfonso? We're up over on Kick. What's good on this Moon Day? Hey, I'm gonna start saying that. Happy Moon Day. Ooh, shit, boy, that's tight. Anyways, we're going to read a little bit of this book, just really the introduction. You see, we're just going to scroll through this. This is The History of Magic, written in, I want to say this book was written in 1913. So we'll just start reading. The introduction goes quite long. Where have you seen this symbol before? The Great Seal of Solomon? Interesting. Let us begin. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Why is there all this weird ass symbolism? The pentagram of absolute, it says. Let's just zoom her in so y'all can see it with me. The History of Magic, written in 1913. Magic has been confounded too long with the jugglery of mountebanks, the hallucinations of disordered minds, and the crimes of certain unusual malefactors. There are otherwise many who would promptly explain magic as the art of producing effects in the absence of causes, and on the strength of such a definition it will be said by ordinary people with a good sense with the good sense which characterize the ordinary in the midst of much injustice, that magic is an absurdity. But you can have no analogy, in fact, with the descriptions of those who know nothing of the subject. Furthermore, it is not to be represented as this or that by any person whomsoever. It is that which is drawing forth itself only, even as mathematics do. For it is the exact and absolute science of nature and her laws. Magic is the science of the ancient magi and the Christian religion. Weird. Wait a second. Why would it say magic is the science of the Christian religion, which silenced the counterfeit oracles and put a stop to the illusion of false gods? Does this notwithstanding revere those mystic kings who came from the east, led by a star, to adore the savior of the world in his cradle? They are elevated in tradition to the rank of kings, because magical initiation constitutes a true royalty, because also the great art of the magi is characterized by all adepts as the royal art, as the holy kingdom, the sanctum regnum, the star which conduced the pilgrims is the same burning star which is met with all initiations. Interesting. You notice how here it says, because the great art of magi is characterized by all adepts as royal art. It's quite interesting to think that potentially the elites, who are now just considered royalty across the globe versus select individual kingdoms that they might live in, it does seem as if the real magic is kept within those closed doors, within those closed circles, or those secret societies. You heard me? Poop emojis in the chat. For alchemists, it is the sign of the quintessence, there we go. The sign of the quintessence. For magicians, it is the great arcanum. For the Kabbalists, it's the sacred pentagram. Our design is to prove that the study of this pentagram did itself lead the Magi to the knowledge of the name which was to be exiled above all names, and to bend the knee of all beings who were capable of adoration. This seems to me as if this book is trying to lead on that the three Magi that went to Jesus's birth We're using the pentagram. Is that what you guys are hearing too? Let me reread that. For magicians, it is the great arcanum. For Kabbalists, it's the sacred pentagram. Our design is to prove that the study of this pentagram did itself lead the Magi to the knowledge of the new name, which was to be exiled above all names and to bend the knees of all beings who were capable of adoration. Magic, therefore, combines in a single science that which is most certain in philosophy, which is eternal and infallible in religion. It reconciles perfectly and incontestably those two terms, so opposed on the first view: faith and reason, science and belief, authority and liberty. It furnishes the human mind with an instrument of philosophical and religious certitude as exact mathematics, and even accounting for the infallibility of mathematics themselves. It's kind of crazy to read it. 1913, the history of magic. An absolute exists, therefore, in the realms of understanding and faith. The lights of human intelligence have not been left by the supreme reason to waver at hazard. Let me read that again. The lights of human intelligence have not been left by the supreme reason to waver at hazard. There is an incontestable truth. There is an infallible method of knowing that truth, while those who obtain this knowledge and adapt it as a rule of life can endow their will with a sovereign power which can make them masters of all inferior things, all wandering spirits, in other words, arbiters and kings of the world. Damn, sounds like we're going to become wizards, bro. I want to be a wizard. I am a wizard. Are you a wizard? What house are you in? Are you in Hufflepuff? Slytherin, Ravenclaw, Gryffindor? And if such be the case, how come it that so exalted a science is still unrecognized? How is it possible to assume that so bright a sun is hidden in a sky so dark? The transcendental science has been known always, but only to the flowers of it. Okay, let me read it again. The transcendental science has been known always, but only to the flowers of intelligence, who have understood the necessity of silence and patience. Should a skillful surgeon open at midnight the eyes of a man born blind, it would still be impossible to make him realize the nature or existence of daylight until morning comes. Fuck, that hit me hard. That's kind of crazy. Science has its nights and its mornings because the life which it communicates to the world of mind is characterized by regular modes of motion and progressive phases. It says, it is the same with truths as it is with radiations of light. Nothing which is hidden is lost, but at the same time, nothing that is found is absolutely new. The seal of eternity is affixed by God to that science which is the reflection of his glory. The transcendental science, the absolute science, is absurdly magic. Though the affirmation may seem utterly paradoxical to those who have never questioned the infallibility of Voltaire. Wait a second. The Voltaire? We got vampires from Twilight up in this bitch. The marvelous smatterer, the marvelous smatterer who thought that he knew so much because he never missed the opportunity for laughter instead of learning. Magic was the science of Abraham, Orpheus, of Confucius and Zoroaster. And it was the magical doctrines that were graven on tables of stone by Enoch and Trismegistus. Trismegistus and Enoch. Woo, shit, boy. Moses purified and revealed them, this being the sense of the word reveal. The new disguise which he gave them was that of the Holy Kabbalah, that extensive heritage of Israel, the inviolable secret of its priests. The mysteries of Ulysses, I don't know how to say that, Thebes, preserved among the Gentiles, some of its symbols, but in a debased form. And the mystic key was lost amidst the apparatus of an ever-increasing superstition. Jerusalem, murderer of its process. Well, Jerusalem, murderer of its prophets and prostituted over and over again to false Assyrian and Babylonian gods, ended by losing in its turn the sacred word. When a savior declared to the Magi by the holy star of initiation came to rend which there bare veil of the old temple, to endow the church with a new network of legends and symbols, ever concealing from the profane and always preserving from the elect that truth which is the same forever. Okay, so basically, Jerusalem, the people who killed Jesus, hid the magic that the Magi used to follow the star to get to Jesus's birth. And what I'm gathering is they created a new church with a new network of legends or prophets or God-chosen people and symbols to conceal from the profane. Am I picking up what I'm laying down? Am I wrong? Am I right? Are you guys feeling the same thing? Am I not reading it effectively enough for you guys to hear it the best to understand? Am I reading too fast? Let me know what's up. Okay, so where's the one? Because the word signifies reception. In the rabbinical Hebrew, it donates doctrine so communicated. That is to say, by a tradition handed down or received from the past. John Rachlin specifies it as a symbolical reception, signifying that the doctrine is not comprised simply in its surface meaning. He says further that it is He says further that it is of divine revelation and that it belongs primarily to the life-giving contemplation of God. This is in the universal sense, but it is concerned always with secret teaching respecting. Just a second. My dog was tripping out there, bruh. This is the universal sense, but it is concerned also with secret teaching respecting particular things. It is concerned also with secret teaching respecting particular things, meaning things manifest. Contemplatio formorum separatorum. Fuck, it sounds like I was just casting a spell, bro. I love you, Melissa. You want to know the cool thing about the Marley back there, bro? The Marley back there, my sister actually brought it from me from California, and it was painted with coffee, bro. You guys want to see it? It was painted with coffee, dude. It's freaking sick, bro. Freaking sick, dude. But do you guys feel like I just casted a freaking Hogwarts spell. Contemplato forain. Let me see it. Contemplatio formonium separatium. Damn. It is that the erudite and ill-sparred Dipius should have found on Indian planispheres and in tables of dendra. I don't even know what the fuck planispheres mean. What does the word planisphere mean?
A planisphere is essentially a flattened representation of a sphere on a plane. Historically, it could refer to any map projection of part or all of the world. In modern astronomy, a planisphere usually refers to a star chart made of two rotating disks. You can adjust it to see which stars are visible in the night sky at a specific time and location. It's a handy tool.
Interesting. He would not have ended by rejecting the truly Catholic or universal and eternal religion in the presence of a unanimous affirmation of all nature, as well as all monuments of science throughout the ages. It was the memory of this science and religious absolute of this doctrine summarized in a word and of this word alternately lost and recovered, which was transmitted to the elect of all antique initiations. He keeps saying initiation. Whether preserved or profaned in the celebrated order of the temple, it was the same memory handed to the secret associations of the Rosicrucians, Illuminati, and the Freemasons, which gave a meaning to their strange rites, to their lost or more controversial signs, and a justification above all to their devotion in common, as well as a clue to their power. Fuck, dude. I said fucking Illuminati. I'm telling you, boy. The profanation, that means the act of making something profane, has befallen the doctrines and mysteries of magic we have no intention to deny. Repeated from age to age, the misuse itself has been a great and terrible lesson for those who made secret things unwisely known. Okay. We have no intention to deny. Repeated from age to age. The misuse itself, the misuse of magic, okay, well, that makes a little bit of sense, has been a great and terrible lesson for those who made secret things unwisely known. The Gnostics caused the gnosis to be prohibited by Christians, and the official sanctuary was closed to high initiation. The hierarchy of knowledge was thus comprised by the intervention of usurping ignorance, while the disorders within the sanctuary were reproduced in the state, for willingly or otherwise, the king always depends from the priest, and it is towards the external and axiom of divine instruction that earthly powers will ever look for consecration and for energy to ensure their performance. Interesting. The key of science has been known. The key of science has been thrown to children as might have been expected. It is now therefore mislaid and practically lost. This notwithstanding, a man of high intuition and great moral courage, Count Joseph de Maistre, who was also a resolute Catholic, acknowledging that the world was void of religion and could not so remain, turned his eyes instinctively towards the last sanctuaries of occultism and called with heartfelt prayers for that day when the natural affinity which subsists between science and faith should combine them in the mind of a single man of genius. This will be grand, he said. It will finish the 18th century, which is still with us. We shall talk then of our present stupidity as we now dilate on the barbarism of the Middle Ages. The prediction of Count Joseph de Maistre is in course of realization. The alliance of science and faith, accomplished long since, here is in fine made manifest, not through by a man of genius. Genius is not needed to see the sun, and moreover, has never demonstrated anything but its rare greatness and it lights inaccessible to the crowd. The grand truth demands only to be found, when the simplest will be able to comprehend it and prove it also at need. At the same time, the truth will never become vulgar because it is what's that word? Hierarchic. Because it is hierarchic, and because anarchy alone humors the bias of the crowd. The masses are not in need of absolute truths, where it otherwise progress would be arrested and life would cease in humanity. The ebb and flow on contrary ideas, the clash of opinions, the passions of time, ever impelled by its dreams, are necessary to the intellectual growth of people. Is we spitting fire? Can we get fire emotes? I don't know. Maybe you don't think this is fire. Maybe you think it's boring, so you won't comment fire emotes, but I don't know. I just like learning, and reading is how you exercise your brain, right? The masses know it went well, and hence they desert so readily the chair of doctors to collect about the rostrum of mountebanks. Some even who are assumed to be concerned in philosophy, and that perhaps especially, too often resemble the children playing at charades who hasten to turn out those who know the answer already, lest the game should be spoiled by depriving the puzzle of the questions of all its interests. Okay, so I'm not... my reading comprehension might not be quite up to par right now. Correct me if I'm wrong. But this was in 1913 English explaining... I gathered that they understand sociology, like human behavior, to a point where they know that the key of science has been thrown to the children, which basically just means that they removed the magic out of education. They replaced magic with religion, so it became science and religion instead of science and or magic and science, I guess. What do you think? Drop it in the comments, whatever. If you think I'm off, maybe help me a little bit if you think you have a better understanding. But that's basically what I was understanding right there. The ebb and flow of contrary ideas, the clash of opinions, the passions of time, ever impelled by its dreams, are necessary to the intellectual growth of people. So if they know that these things are necessary for the intellectual growth of people, then why aren't we allowed to have the clash of opinions? They try to censor our words. We're not allowed to have the ebb and flow of contrary ideas. They have removed or tried to brainwash us to remove us from the energy of in having a passion of time. You know what I mean? Or any sort of dreams. Maybe I'm just reading too much into this. I don't know. I'm just trying my best to even understand it. It's quite an interesting read. I've never read a book from 1913 before. The answer already, lest the game should be, let's see, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Wait a second, isn't that a scripture in the Bible? Has been said by eternal wisdom. Purity of heart, therefore, purifies intelligence. And what was this word? Rectitude of will. The rectitude of will makes for precision in understanding. Whosoever prefers truth and justice before all things shall have justice and truth for his reward. I prefer truth and justice above all things. Hell yeah, let's go. Share my stream if you want to share it, I guess. That's crazy, huh? It's pretty powerful right there. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God, has been said by eternal wisdom. Purity of heart, therefore, purifies intelligence, and rectitude of will makes for precision in understanding. Whosoever prefers truth and justice before all things shall have justice and truth for his reward, because supreme providence has endowed us with freedom in order that we may obtain life. And very truth, all its exactitude notwithstanding, intervenes only with mildness, never does outrage to tardiness or violence to the errors of our will when it is beguiled by the allurements of falsehood. It remains, however, according to Bauset, the antecedent to anything which may please or repel our senses. There is a truth, and it is by this that our conduct should be governed not by our appetites. The kingdom of heaven is not the empire of caprice, either in respect of man or God. A thing is not just because it is willed by God, said St. Thomas, but God's will it because it is just. The divine balance rules and necessitates the divine balance rules and necessitates eternal mathematics. God has made all things with number, weight, and measurement. That was here it is, the Bible speaking. Measure an angle of creation, make a proportionately progressive multiplication, and all infinity shall multiply its circles, peopled by universe passing in proportional segments between the extending symbolical arms of your compass. Yeah, that's what when it said multiply its circles, I immediately thought of the flower of life, the seed of life, the tree of life. It all starts with one and it moves to two so that it can perceive itself, and it changes dimensions, and then it multiplies and multiplies. And that's how we get our 3D fractal light matrix that we live in. Suppose now that from whatever point of the infinite above you, a hand holds another compass or square. There's a Freemason there it is. There's a Freemason thing. A hand holds another compass or square. Then the lines of the celestial triangle will meet of necessity those of the compass of science, and will form therewith the mysterious Star of Solomon. With that measure you met, it shall be measured to you again, says the Gospels. God does not strive with man that he may crush man by his grandeur, and he never places unequal weights in his balance. When he would test the strength of Jacob, he assumes the form of man. The patriarch withstands on the onset through the entire night. At the end, there is a blessing for the conquered, and in addition to the glory of having sustained such a struggle, he is given the national title of Israel, being a name which signifies strong against God. Wait a second. The name signifies strong against God. Wait, what? So the country of the actual word Israel, strong against God, meaning like against God, not with God. Interesting. We have heard Christians more zealous than instructed, hazarding a strange explanation of the dogma concerning eternal punishment by suggesting that God may avenge infinitely an offense which itself is finite, because if the offender is limited, the grandeur of the offended being is not. An emperor of the world might, on the strength of a similar pretext, sentence to death some unreasoning child who had soiled accidentally the hem of his purple. I don't know what the fuck that means. Far otherwise are the prerogatives of greatness, and Saint Augustine understood them better when he said, God is patient because God is eternal. In God all is justice, seeing that all is goodness. He never forgives after the manner of men, for he is never angered like them, but evil being by its nature incomparable with God, as night is with day, as discord is with harmony, and the liberty of man being furthermore inviolable, all error is expiated. Expiated. What is that word?
Sure thing. The word expiated means to atone for or make amends for something, usually a wrongdoing or a sin. For example, someone might say they expiated their mistake by apologizing and making things right.
All error is expiated, and all evil punished by suffering proportioned thereto.
It sounds like you're quoting a philosophical idea that suggests every mistake or wrongdoing is atoned for, and every evil is met with proportional suffering.
Okay. It is vain to invoke the help of Jupiter when our cart is stuck in the mud. Unless we take pick and shovel like the wagoner in the fable, heaven will not draw us out of the rut. Help yourself and God will help you. Ooh! Amen, brother. Amen. Can I get an amen? Help yourself and God will help you. And if you don't even believe in some sort of sky daddy God, it could literally just be help yourself and you'll be able to hear your higher self, bro. Start doing things to help you. According to the Zohar, part 1, let's see, page or text 21a and 21b. It was with the guardian angel of Asu that Jacob wrestled at the place which he named Peniel. The angel could not prevail against Jacob because the latter derived his strength from the supreme light, Kether, and from Chakma, which is the second hypostasis. He therefore smote Jacob on the right thigh, which signifies the seventh Sephira or Netzach. Interesting. In such a reasonable and wholly philosophical way, it is explained the possible and necessary eternity of punishment, with still a narrow way open for man to escape therefrom, being that of toil and repentance. It is by conformity with the rules of external power that man may unite himself to the creative energy and become creator and preserver in his own turn. God has not limited narrowly the number of rounds on Jacob's ladder of light. Whosoever nature has constituted inferior to man is thereby to him made subject. It is for man to extend his dominion in virtue and continual ascent, length, and even perpetuity of life, the field of air and its storms, the earth and its metallic veins, light and its wondrous illusions, darkness and the dreams thereof, death and all its ghosts. All of these do therefore obey the royal scepter of the Magi, the shepherd's staff of Jacob, and the terrible wand of Moses. Wait a second. So Moses had a magical wand, bro? Moses had a magical wand? Moses from the Bible, like the shepherd staff of Jacob, Moses had a wand?
It sounds like you're asking about Moses from the Bible and whether he had something like a shepherd's staff similar to Jacob's. Moses is often described as having a staff, which he used in several stories, like parting the Red Sea or performing signs in Egypt. If you have more specific questions about Moses' staff,
yeah, but he just said the wand. I just heard wand. I was automatically thought of freaking Wingardium Leviosa. The adept becomes king of the elements, transmuter of metals, interpreter of visions, controller of oracles, master of life in fine, according to the mathematical order of nature and conformability to the will of the supreme intelligence. The adept becomes king, it says. Interesting. This is magic in all of its glory. Let's read that again. The adept becomes king of the elements, transmuter of metals, interpreter of visions, controller of oracles, master of life in fine, according to the mathematical order of nature and conformability to the will of the supreme intelligence. That's sacred geometry, bro. That's literally what it's saying. The Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio, the geometry of like cymatics and all of that, bro. This is magic in all its glory, but there is anyone who in these days will dare to give credence to such words. The answer is those who will study loyally and obtain knowledge frankly. We make no attempt to conceal truth under the veil of parables or hieroglyphical signs. The time has come when everything should be told, and we propose to tell everything. It is our intention, in short, to unveil that every secret science which, as we have indicated, is hidden behind the shadows of ancient mysteries, which the Gnostics betrayed clumsily, or rather disfigured unworthily, which is recognized dimly under the darkness shrouding the pretended crimes of the Templars, which is met with once again beneath the now impenetrable enigmas of high-grade Masonic rites. The Freemasons have the magic. They've been hiding it. We propose further to bring it into open day with fantastic king of the Sabbath to expose the very roots of black magic and its frightful realities long since surrendered to the derision of the grandchildren of Voltaire. Who the fuck who is this Voltaire? I'm going to read an excerpt out of this book I'm reading, and I need you to explain it to me.
Sure, go ahead and read the excerpt. I'll do my best to explain it once you've shared it.
We propose further to bring into open day the fantastic king of the Sabbath to expose the very roots of black magic and its frightful realities long since surrendered to the derision of the grandchildren of Voltaire.
That passage seems to be talking about revealing or exposing something called the king of the Sabbath, which sounds like a figure associated with black magic. The author is suggesting they want to lay bare the origins and realities of black magic, which have been dismissed or ridiculed by more modern skeptics, referred to as the grandchildren of Voltaire, implying rationalists or Enlightenment thinkers who would mock such ideas. Essentially, it's about uncovering it.
For a great number of readers, magic is the science of the devil. Can we just put some aliens in the chat, bro? How obvious is that to us? How obvious that is, if there is some magical essence that actually gives us what we would perceive as magic. That's why, like, come on, bro. How many of you guys pull tarot cards, bro? You could just, you know what I mean? How many of you guys fucking pull cards? I'm telling you, bro. For all of my life, maybe it's because I grew up in Utah surrounded by Christian, like non-Christian Mormons, because now they're not Christian according to the American government. Maybe because they believe in a planet called Kolob, that you'll be able to have your own planet if you reach the highest levels. But isn't it obvious that there are certain aspects about our reality that have been deemed evil or the devil, and magic or the thought of magic, or like tarot cards or crystals or intention rituals where you like have a money bowl, or you know what I'm saying? Like these little tiny practices we do to like put intent out into it with paper, you know what I'm talking about. All of that stuff has been stigmatized to be of the devil, even as the science of light is identified with that of darkness. We confess boldly at the outset that we are not in terror of the devil. My fear is for those who fear him, said Saint Teresa. But we testify also that he does not prompt our laughter, and that the ridicule of which he is often the object seems to us exceedingly misplaced. However, this may be, it is our intention to bring him before the light of science. But the devil and science, the apposition of two names so strangely incongruous, must seem to have disclosed the whole intent in view. If the mystic personification of darkness be thus dragged into the light, it is not to annihilate the phantom of falsehood in the presence of truth. It is not to dispel in the day all formless monsters of the night. Superficial persons will think so and will condemn without hearing. Ill-instructed Christians will conclude that we are sapping the fundamental dogma of their ethics by decrying hell, and others will question the utility of combating error in which, as they imagine, no one believes longer. It is therefore important to enunciate our object clearly and establish our principles solidly. We say, therefore, to Christians, that the author of this book is a Christian like yourself. His faith is that of a Catholic, strongly and deeply convinced, for the reason he does not come forward to deny dogmas, but to combat impiety under the most pernicious forms, which those are of false belief and superstition. He comes to drag form from the darkness, the black successor of Ahraman, in order to expose in broad day his colossal impotence and redoubtable misery. He comes to make the subject the age-long problem of evil to the solutions of science, to uncrown the king of hell and to bow down his head at the foot of the cross. It is not virginal or maternal science, the science of which Mary is the sweet and luminous image, destined like her to crush the head of the old serpent. The science of Mary. There she is again. The author, on the other hand, would say to pretended philosophy, why seek to deny that which you cannot understand? Is not the unbelief which affirms in the face of the unknown more precipitate and less consolidating than faith? Does the dreadful form of personified evil only prompt you to smile? Hear you not the ceaseless sobbing of humanity which writhes and weeps in the crushing folds of the monster? Have you never heard the atrocious laugh of the evildoer who is prosecuting the just man? Have you ever experienced in yourselves the opening of those infernal deeps which the genius of perversity furrows in every soul? Moral evil exists. Such is a unhappy truth. It reigns in certain spirits. It incarnates in certain men. It is therefore personified, and thus demons exist. But the most wicked of these demons is Satan. More than this I do not ask you to admit, and it will be difficult for you to grant me less. Let it be otherwise and clearly understood that science and faith render mutual support to one another only in so far as the respective realms remain inviolably distinct. What is it that we believe, that which we do not know absolutely? That's a pretty good one right there, actually. What is it that you believe that we do not know absolutely? Interesting. Though we may yearn for it with all of our strength, the object of faith is not more than the indispensable hypothesis of science. The object of faith is not more than the indispensable hypothesis for science. The things which are in the domain of knowledge must never be judged by the process of faith, nor conversely, the things of faith according to the measures of science. The end of faith is not scientifically debatable, I believe, because it is absurd, said Tertullian. And this utterance paradoxical on the surface of it as it is. How much more of this? Holy cow, the history of magic all the way down here, bro. We got pages and pages. We might save this. I don't even remember what page we were on. The Templars, potency, paradoxical. On the surface, as it is, belongs to the highest reason. As a fact, beyond all that we can suppose rationally, there is an infinite towards which we aspire to unquenchable thirst, and it eludes even our dreams, but it is not infinite itself in absurdity for our finite appreciation. We feel all the same that it is. The infinite invades us, overflows us, renders us dizzy at its abysses, and crushes us by its awful height. Scientifically probable hypotheses are one and all last half-lights or shadows of science. Faith begins where reason falls exhausted. Beyond human reason, there is a reason which is divine. For my weakness and supreme absurdity, but an infinite absurdity which confounds me and in which I believe. The good alone is infinite. Evil is not. And hence, if God be the eternal object of faith, then the devil belongs to science. What? Oh my gosh, bro. That one really hit me. I really resonate with that, bro. The good alone is infinite. Evil is not. And hence, if God be the eternal object of faith, then the devil belongs to science. In which of the Catholic creeds is there any questioning concerning him? Would it not be blasphemy to say that we believe in him? In Holy Scripture, he is named but not defined. Genesis makes no allusion to the reputed revolt of angels. It ascribes the fall of Adam to the serpent as to the most subtle and dangerous of living beings. We are acquainted with Christian tradition on this subject, but if that tradition is explicable by one of the greatest and most diffused allegories of science, which can such solutions signify to the faith which aspires only to God, which despises the pomps and works of Lucifer, light bearer. How strange a name, attributed to the spirit of darkness. Is it he who carries the light and yet blinds feeble souls? The answer is yes, unquestionably, for all traditions are full of divine disclosures and inspirations. Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light, says St. Paul, and Christ himself says, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from the heaven. Also the prophet Isaiah, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? Lucifer is then a fallen star, a meteor which is on fire always, which burns when it enlightens no longer. But is this Lucifer a person or a force, an angel or a strayed thunderbolt? Traditions suppose that it is an angel, but the psalmists say, who maketh his angel spirits, his ministers a flaming fire? The word angel is applied in the Bible to all messengers of God, emissaries or new creations, revealers or scourges, radiant spirits or brilliant objects. The shafts of fire which the Most High darts through the clouds are angels of his wrath, and such figurative language is familiar to all readers of Eastern poetry. Who do we got up in here? We got some peeps up in here. We're just reading a little bit. We're going to finish this page and then move on. We'll probably continue reading the history of magic on Wednesday. I don't know. I just wanted to maybe try something new and read a book with you guys. Maybe you guys find this boring. I don't know. Having been the world's terror through the period of the Middle Ages, the devil has become its mockery, heir to the monstrous forms of all false gods cast down successively from their thrones. The grotesque scarecrow has turned into a mere bugbear through very deformity and hideousness. Yet observe as it is as to this, that those only dare to laugh at the devil who know not to fear of God. Can it be that for many diseased imaginations, he is God's own shadow? What? That's kind of crazy if you actually think about it. Like, as in, like, duality, you need two sides of yourself. Like, that's how shadow work works, is you have to look at your shadow self, like your the other version of you that doesn't want the best for you. So it kind of just is crazy that it's talking about potentially is Lucifer the shadow version of God. But that would mean that they're the same individual, they're just two sides of the same spectrum. They're just opposite poles of the same thing. They're just at different degrees. They're not separate. They're the same. They're just at different degrees. Or is he not often the idol of degenerate souls who only understand supernatural power as the exercise of cruelty and impunity? But it is important to discern whether the notion of this evil power can be reconciled with that of God. In a word, whether the devil exists, and in such case, what he is. There is no longer any question of superstition or of ridiculous invention. It is a question of religion alone, and hence of the whole future with all of the interests of humanity. What's up, dude? What's up, dude? What's up, dude?
Every day.
We got Team Human up in the house, right? What's up, motherfuckers? Where you at? can you guys just drop where your location is? I'd just like to see where everybody's at. I know I ask a bunch. I know some of y'all are in Canada. I got some people here in America. We could maybe even have some people in a different country, obviously besides Canada, but Canada's in the house. What's up? Canada's up in the house. You guys know who Big Sean is? Yeah, he's a rapper. Tennessee, Oregon, let's go. What's up, Australia? What's up? Let's go, dude. Fuck yeah. What's up, Twyla Klein? Hey, just to let you guys know, I'll be obviously I'm about 2 hours in right now. We'll probably go for about, what's up, Washington? Indiana's in the house. Let's go. Georgia's in the house. What's up? But yeah, so there's a link that's pinned to the top of your chat. It is the link to Kick. At the end of every stream, we have a little decompression thing that happens over here. Whoa. We just do it over on Kick. You know what I'm saying? So I hope to see you there. If you hit the link in Kick, please, if you come over to the Kick, please just drop a red, green, and yellow heart in the chat so I know you came over to Kick. What's up, right over the river from Louisville, Kentucky. Hell yeah. Let's go, dude. What's up, dude? What's up, dude? What's up? Big Sean, everybody. Let's just let this roll.
Every day I wake up, I'm one day closer to death. So what you gonna do with the time you got left?
Every day I wake up, I'm one step closer to death. So what are you going to do with the time you have left?
Big Sean. One of the biggest blessings is going through a time where you are feeling at your lowest or depressed or whatever the feeling is, because that is just confirmation that you're not in alignment and that you're meant for something different, something greater.
What's the difference between attracting energy and chasing energy?
Oh, boy.
The number one health and what?
For me, you know, first of all, I just got to say, Jay, though, I'm so proud of you, man. So many aspects of my life, and I'm living in the life that I've always dreamed of, you know, times 10. I only wanted to have a song on the radio and like a platinum song, and bro, I've sold 185 million records or something crazy. I've like taken care of my mom, my dad, a lot of people, and lived 10 lifetimes already. So everything has just been sprinkles on top. So to me, success is really activating your purpose, and happiness is something that you can choose instantly.
Okay. This is going to be one where I'm pausing a lot. Let's run back what he just said, okay? Because what he just said gave me chills, bro. Really listen to this.
Everything has just been sprinkles on top. So to me, success is really activating your purpose.
Success is activating your purpose.
And happiness is something that you can choose instantly. Your happiness is something that you could choose instantly, and it's something that I learned the hard way. Because when I have fallen into like a dark time, you know, we all go through these ups and downs. When I've been down bad and like the depression comes in, the anxiety comes in, the self-sabotage comes in, and you can hold on to these things and they will stick with you your whole life. You have to decide to let them go. And that's one of the things I talk about in the book. A lot of people may not know how to do that, and there are a lot of ways. But one of the first ways is to choose how you feel. You're in control of that. And it's easier said than done, because when things aren't going your way, you're pissed off at everybody. You're like blaming everything. Well, first of all, you have to quit blaming everything else and realize that you're a magnet. You're magnetizing your whole world to you. You know, so if that's the case, obviously you switch it to an emotion that resonates with you more, of how, at least how you desire to feel, right? And you can choose that. And I'm telling you, your whole experience will change. So.
Bro, I just got to ask. Because I genuinely can resonate with that. How much of your life, it was a long time of mine, but how much of your life did you think that emotions just happened, that you didn't have a choice? You just had to deal with whatever emotions came up. That's really how I've really struggled, and I've really grown a lot with anger. I get irritated, and my anger meter fluctuates. So it's been a long road and a pretty tough journey of self-realization and awareness of myself and my past, and being able to actually like connect the dots between like, is the reason why I have little patience and I get irritated and angry with my children, does that stem from the fact that I just want to make sure that they do what they're supposed to, and I feel like this weird control issue over it, to where I almost come off cross like a dictator, because I am just I was not cared for really as a child. I love my mom and she did the best that she could, but I just almost energetically feel obligated to do and be different. And so when my kids are, I guess, falling out of line, you could say, I'm quick to get irritated about things because I just want them to be the best they can be. And it's just an everyday struggle. It's an everyday grind. It's an everyday journey of healing and like positive self-talk, and like really trying to change the programming from a very young age. I mean, that does resonate, Monica. Like feeling cheated. I felt like I was cheated out of my childhood. And so I guess the things then that what I try to provide to my children is vicariously also hugging my inner child. Does that make sense? The opportunities and the materialistic things that I'm able to provide my children, I try to just fulfill everything that I never had, to vicariously, one, give my children the best that I could give them. But it also is like healing a wound I have inside. And for a long time, I just felt as if like I didn't have control, and that I felt like it took a long time before I was hyper aware of the fact that I, every second of the day, get to choose how I perceive everything, that I get to choose whether I'm going to allow this to bother me or not. And ultimately that is the case. You get to choose how you feel. You get to choose how you perceive things. And it's harder to do than, it's easier said than done. Can you agree?
So happiness is something you can choose immediately.
Yeah, one thing that stood out to me listening to you was the power of separation. I've never heard it like that before.
Yeah.
And I really like that term, because we have to learn to separate society's views and our views. We have to learn to separate, as you said, our definition of success and other people's definition of success.
And separate what you control and what you can't control.
And how do we develop the power of separation? What does it take to cultivate that within ourselves, to have that ability? Because I feel most of us don't practice the power of separation.
Dude, for so much of my life, bro, I'm one of those, bro, like the need to control things. And it's taken me a long time to really radically, like with everything I have, to allow and to let go of so much about my life that I just, I really struggle with trying to control things that I actually, at the end of the day, if you look at it subjectively, I absolutely have no way to control it. I really did. Like for a majority of my life, I was always stuck in my head trying to predict the future, to know what the next step was. And if this happened, what am I going to do that? And then how am I going to counteract this? And what am I going to do this to prevent that, and do that to prevent this? It's just like an everyday consistent grind of like trying to predict the future, bro. Does anybody resonate with that? It's a similar energy of like always being absorbed with the past. It's different, but it's the similar, you know, the past is something that's happened that we just like repeat over and over and over in our head. The future is something that hasn't even really happened yet and actually never even gets here, because the only real time of life that actually exists is the present moment, and that's ever shifting and ever changing, but it's always here. The present moment's always here. And a lot of my life, I would just, I guess in a sense, I'm just to say I'd fantasize or imagine what was going to happen, and the imagination and the fantasies would control me.
It's just the recognition to me. One of the biggest blessings in your life is growing pains. One of the biggest blessings is going through a time where you are feeling at your lowest or depressed or whatever the feeling is, because that is just confirmation that you're not in alignment and that you're meant for something different, or you're meant for something more, something greater. You know, if you were satisfied with where you're at, then that just is what it is. And, you know, you probably wouldn't even be depressed. But because you feel a certain way, or like you're not all the way there, that is just confirmation that you are truly, truly meant for more or something different.
Can we get some fucking some aliens in the house, bro? Just spam the chat with emotes, because that is so true, bro. I believe that wholeheartedly, that if you genuinely just, I don't know, it's just obvious, right? Let's keep going.
So to me, I think that when you recognize, okay, you know, once you start recognizing things of that nature, you can say, okay, what's the first step of getting out of this? And so that's part of the book. I say, you know, accepting where you are. That doesn't.
I would like to just say thanks. I would like to say thank you, Eternity. Has anyone noticed how much better things have been since I switched to Kick? I don't know if you're trying to say like the connection or if you're trying to say the quality of content, but I just want to say thank you.
I mean, you have to like stay there. That just means accepting the blessings and all the things that come along with where you are to open up space for more. And you're letting go of all the baggage that is holding and weighing you down. I used to be like that. I used to be like, when things don't go my way, I'm terrible. Oh, this doesn't happen the way I wanted it to or the way I saw it. You know, my whole mood is shot, right? And I'm not to say that things don't affect me when they don't go my way, but I have the armor on now. I know how to deal with it. I know how to get over it and get back to it. Mm-hmm. That's how a lot of my heroes deal with things too. You know, when you think of like Denzel Washington, like say he has a new movie out, say the movie does amazing and it's incredible and he wins an Oscar, say the movie comes out and it bombs or it doesn't do as well, he's not going to give up and quit. It's not going to ruin his life. He's going to move on to the next thing and use that to the power of separation to me. You know, that's a real thing.
Yeah, you reminded me of, I love Denzel too. So
yeah, I know.
you reminded me of...
I can't speak for Denzel. That's just like an example.
Yeah, of what you're perceiving.
Yeah.
I remember my football coach...
I just have to point out, just 1 second.
Coach growing up gave me this piece of advice.
Mm-hmm.
I just have to point out how fucking cool it is that this dude's wearing a Linkin Park shirt, bro. He's a rapper, bro, and he's wearing a Linkin Park shirt. That just takes me back, bro. 'Cause I've become so numb, I can feel you there. Become so much more aware. You know what I'm talking about?
And it stayed with me ever since then. He would say to us, if you lose, cry for a night.
Yeah.
And he goes, if you win, celebrate for a night, but then get back to training.
Can I just ask you guys? If you know, you know. Can I just get heart emojis if you've heard me say that? Because I have to give credit. This is exactly the place that I heard this, and it impacted me to regurgitate that same phrase over and over and over again to lots and lots of individuals. If you lose, cry for a night. If you win, celebrate for a night. Either way, get right back on the grind, bro.
Right.
So if you lose, cry for a night, but then get back to training. And if you win, celebrate for a night and get back to training. It was always about getting back to training the next day.
Yeah.
It was like, you can't just sit there and cry for a week or cry for a month. And you can't, in the same way, celebrate for a month. You can't just live off your past success.
That's right.
Get back to training. And I love that mindset. Someone was asking
like a Kobe mindset almost, right?
Yeah, for sure. Go on.
You know, I know you got a chance to talk to Kobe before, and I've actually got a chance to talk to him as well. And, you know, he's incredible, and his mindset was something that I admired so much. And I got a chance to talk to him literally a few months before he passed. And he was just telling me about how he meditates and what it does for him, right? And I just resonated with that so much. It's really cool because...
Can I just ignore... For one, if you know, you know, but my bread and circus is UFC and NBA basketball. Kobe Bryant is... Rest in peace, Kobe. We loved Kobe. And then you could do some just, you know, talking about Kobe, bro, it's just like some weird conspiracies go on when it comes to Kobe, like the fact that Kobe's last game, they were giving out helicopter toys. The fact that there's like this alleged conspiracy that Kobe Bryant was actually in like law litigation with a company that plagiarized the Black Mamba, which also had like a opiate-like chemical in it that would make you dependent and stuff. I don't know if you've heard about all. There's a whole bunch of them, but R.I.P. Kobe. We love you, bro. Kobe is one of the greatest basketball players to ever play basketball. And if you know anything about Kobe, he talked about the Mamba mentality because he was in the gym working out at 3 o'clock in the morning when he went to bed at 1 a.m. He was on point. It was all he eat, slept, and breathed basketball training and becoming the best version of himself. And I just think that it's powerful and profound for Big Sean to tell us right now that Kobe was really into meditation, bro. If you all want, can we get some, let's get some poop emojis in the chat if you guys want some breathwork meditation at the end of the stream, which also I'll just tell you, it's pinned to the top of your chat, the Kick link. If we do a breathwork or some meditation at the end of the stream, it will be on Kick only. So I hope to see you there.
We all are reflections of each other, not just me and you or whoever. It's like everyone that's in your vicinity, in your environment, is a reflection of you or a part of you, even if you like them or don't like them, you know. And it's something to recognize that we are all interconnected. After you go down to the layers of it, right, you get past the singularity of like career, the family, house, this and that. You go really deep inside, and we're all very similar.
Wait a second. If you go down all the layers all the way down, guess what we get? We're all human, bro. I love you, Team Human. We're all humans. We all have souls. We all have life energy in us. We all feel sad, feel happy, feel love, feel anger, feel jealousy, envy. We all feel the same. We all see the world similar. We all experience reality in this very similar aspect. We're all just humans, bro.
We're all the same. We have the same system of order of operations, you know, and it's really a true testament of we all are made. Everything physical is made of that same, I don't know what you want to call it, prana or love, energy. And as I've gotten older in my life, I see the similarities. I have friends that are in their 60s, 70s. You know, I have friends that are all races and things, and I see myself in all of them. And I think that's something to recognize in such a world of separation. I know that kind of is like a far reach from talking about the interaction with Kobe, but it's crazy how in everyone that I've been meeting lately, and even just from growing up, that I've seen, it's like a mirror almost in a lot of ways. Every day I wake up, I'm one day closer to death. So what you gonna do with the time you got left? I always say that's a business you'll never be successful at, is the business of trying to please everyone. And then when you do please everyone, it's like, are you pleasing yourself? I can't control what people think of me, their perceptions of me. And when I try and control that, it takes me off of my path that I'm on, where I need to go.
Talking about Kobe, I think what resonated with me most about him is that he was at peace in retirement. And athletes who are retired don't always find peace because naturally...
What's up, Alfonso? Over on Kick. What's good, bro?
It was so important to be on the field.
Right.
And so, no judgment towards anyone, but it's so hard to not be on the court anymore and not miss it and want to be there. And he had found a new purpose. And that's the most interesting thing, is that you don't get to peace by pursuing it, and you don't get to peace by trying to pursue more prizes and more wins.
Yeah.
You get to peace by finding your purpose, and that's what he did.
Fuck. Doesn't that just hit hard, bro? You get to peace by finding your purpose. It's so simple, but yet so complex. You find your peace by finding your purpose. Shit.
And so I want to talk about your book, because you really give people these 5 practices.
Yeah.
And I want to give people a game plan, a roadmap today in our interview, so that when they read the book, they can kind of connect the dots between things you've said today. And I want everyone to go out and grab a copy of the book, because I really feel it simplifies. I feel like so much of this space is like mystical, complex. Like, and it can take a long time, but what you've done is you've really demystified and go higher your book.
All right. Is it a book, Melissa? Is that Alan Watts' book? All right. I'm on it.
The pathway to get there.
Yeah.
And I love that you start at accept, because I think even though it's a hard step, it's such an important step. This idea that your journey only begins when you accept that where you are is your starting point, that your experience have made you exactly who you're meant to be, with the skills, the talents, the gifts. So if someone's sitting and listening and going, Sean, that's so hard for me to accept that I am where I need to be, because my life's just been full of, you know, the worst, horrible, difficult things. How do I accept and start from there? What would you say to them?
I would say that I understand some people's lives are not ideal. I'm someone who has seen that, experienced that, can relate to that firsthand. And what I can say is that when you accept it, that doesn't mean that you are giving up. Those are 2 different things. Accepting it just means, okay, I'm ready to go somewhere else. And I'm thankful for all that this has taught me, all that this has brought me. I accept where I'm at, but I know I'm made for something else. I know I'm made to go higher, right?
Fuck. That too, bro. Is there resistance internally for you to accept? You don't have to answer. It's just a genuine question that I would like you to just contemplate. Because I think there's a lot of fear. People feel fear. They feel anxious. There's like worry that comes along when you have to acknowledge and accept that wherever you're at right now, anything that you want to change, anything that you want to do differently, a different vibration, a different frequency, you want to level up, you want to get the bag, whatever it may be, you just have to accept that when you make the decision to do it, that's your starting point, not the past, bro. Not the things that happened in the beginning, like happened before. Not the things that still worry you and bring up anxieties today. It's the moment you decide to change. That's your starting point, and that's all you need to worry about. Is what you're going to do today. and then what you're going to do tomorrow, and then what you're going to do the next day after that, and then what you're still doing that you started on day one, even if it's the activity is different, but the energy is the same. You're still doing something day 21, day 35, day 47, day 52. It's just, you just have to start. Whether that's getting your body healthy, your mind healthy, your soul healthy, whether that's holding boundaries in your relationships, whether it's going outside and actually taking the few hours it might take to start the garden, or maybe it's going out today. I challenge you, if you don't yet, go buy a houseplant. It's all it could be a multitude of things. It doesn't necessarily have to be like specific. It's energy can't be confined to specific. If you want to get your life healthier, you just go buy a houseplant. You find a air purifier. You make sure that you're filtering your water. You get rid of all of the plastic cooking utensils and get metal or wood. It's just baby steps, you know? So me and Queen Trip, when we had our little awakening to our health, it was actually induced through an acid trip. I can remember exactly, not the exact date, but I remember the trip itself. I remember the situation, all of it, when the shift in my mind actually changed and we're like, okay, we are getting healthy. Because there was a period of time where me and Queen Trip were way, way overweight. Could you imagine? You see Queen Trip on her page now? She's a beauty. She's always been a beauty. I fell in love with her and told her I loved her 3 days after I met her in a different state. The first year we were in a relationship was long distance. I knew it was love at first sight. We're all forms of her, whether it was the unhealthy version or the healthy version. We have both grown and become more healthy spiritually, physically, mentally, and emotionally from the moment we met each other. And there was a decision that was made. And guess what? It still took like a whole year, bro, to implement all of the things that we discussed. That was like changing our diet, getting rid of the plastics, using fucking laundry soap that doesn't have poison inside of it, making sure that we're not putting lotions or fucking shampoos or deodorants or toothpastes or clothing. Our bed sheets that can't have polyester in it. And then we gotta, you know what I mean? You just gotta take the steps. Take the steps. You know, it's small baby steps. That's really all it is, bro. It's just small baby steps. Because when you really for example, we're just talking about getting healthy, right? When you start to awaken yourself to the high probability that a lot of the things inside of your home potentially could be poisoning you, it gets overwhelming, bro. You're like, fuck, I got to get rid of all my fucking plastic cups, my plastic bowls, stop using my microwave, throw away all of my pans to get freaking cast iron cast iron or freaking ceramic pans, get rid of all of the freaking plastic spatulas. You know what I'm saying? Like, it gets overwhelming. And then on top of that, that's not even like, okay, now I got to start maybe moving my body a little bit more. Maybe I do need to get outside every day and touch my feet to the earth. Maybe I need to start drinking water that doesn't have fucking chemicals inside of it. Okay, I do need to eat real earth food. It gets so overwhelming. So of course, most people have a hard time accomplishing it. Because it just seems like there's so much to fucking do that there's no time to even do all of it or even the money to do it. It's like, God, I got to buy a brand new, everything for my kitchen brand new. Holy shit. How am I going to do that? How am I going to do that? One day at a time, one pan at a time, one set of bowls at a time. Buy a water filter, an air purifier, a humidifier, go get some house plants. Actually open the blinds in your house. Go touch the bottoms of your feet to the earth. Those are all relatively things you can take baby steps on every single day. And I promise you, in 3 months' time, you're going to look back and be like, holy shit. Holy cow, I look so much better. I feel so much better. I can think so much better. I sleep so much better. I fuck so much better. I pray so much better. I meditate so much better. I read so much better. I speak so much better. I'm emotional so much better. You know? I'm just keeping it 100 with you. Like, it's inevitable if you like start actually just making baby steps. And a lot of people just have a hard time even making the baby steps, myself included. There's lots of things that I'm still actively working on every day that I still have problems taking baby steps. One of them is like getting my ass to the fucking gym on a regular basis and not just once a week. I mean, once a week is better than when I was struggling to not go at all, but I'm still struggling with it. You know? I love you guys. Let's keep going.
No, but really I'm made to be somewhere else in the world, and I think that until you accept that, you can't move forward because you're just in the middle of it. And I think when you accept something, that's how you get ahead of it.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's the resistance to acceptance that blocks us.
Exactly.
Amen. Can we get some amens in the chat? It's the resistance to acceptance that blocks us.
Right?
Wow.
It's like when we're
Well
fighting.
said.
Yeah, when we're fighting, we're going in the opposite direction. It's like it's telling you it's going in this direction, and you're trying to force it to go in the other direction, and that's what's causing tension. And accepting it means, like you said, not that you're giving up and you're like, all right, well, I just do what you want. It's going, no, this is how it's flowing. Now what am I going to do?
There's always a thread of where you are to where you desire to be at, no matter in what situation. There's never not a way.
There's never not a way. What he is about to say is profound. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm just going to let him say it. But I want you to blow the chat up with the craziest gibberish words if this resonates deep into your heart, because this is profound. At least I believe so. You don't have to believe so, but I'm pretty confident that your soul's going to believe so.
It's going, no, this is how it's flowing. Now what am I going to do?
There's always a thread of where you are to where you desire to be at, no matter in what situation. There's never not a way, or else you wouldn't feel it, or else you wouldn't have a desire for it, but it wouldn't even be in your consciousness. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a desire to go to Saturn because that's just not in my thing, right? But I have a desire to, the things that I've had a desire to, I always knew that there was a way. So I always know that no matter what opportunity you're in, against the impossible odds, or against odds, whatever it is, you always have your way to get to where you are. There's always a thread leading you, and there are maybe multiple threads. So never be down and out and think that it's impossible. It's really not. I mean, Mission Impossible is a movie where he defines impossible missions, But my point is like, there's nothing that's impossible for you. It's all meant for you, and it's up to you. One of my favorite quotes is, "Every day I wake up, I'm one day closer to death. So what you gonna do with the time you got left?" It's like, understand that this is our time right now. The moment is now. These moments, we only have the moment. So a lot of us live in the future, and a lot of us live in the past, and that's something that we have to get out of the habit of. And I think when you accept where you are, you're kind of letting go of that and making an action plan to putting your attention on your intention. And you, of course, you have an idea where you would like to be, but
ooh, dude, he said it best, because what he was getting at when he was talking, right, about this thread, if you can think it, if you desire it, like string theory talks about that, right? Everything is connected through strings. If you can think it and imagine it and visualize it and actually see yourself and feel yourself there, quantum physics says that version is being built, constructed particle by particle, as long as it takes before it manifests in your real life, bro. If you can think it, it exists. We are eternal beings, bro. We are portals from the fifth dimension to the third dimension. That's how this cup was made. I thought about this. My thoughts are in the fifth dimension or the sixth, depending on what you believe. And I manifested this cup into the third dimension, which became a physical object in this reality I live in. What the hell? He said, let me run it back, and then we'll talk about it. I chatted for a little bit too long. I can't remember the exact phrasing.
Get out of the habit of. And I think when you accept where you are, you're kind of letting go of that and making an action plan to putting your attention on your intention. And you, of course, you have an idea of where you would like to be, but God doesn't always give us what we want. God gives us what we need. And sometimes those are the same thing, and sometimes they're not.
He said, when you put your attention towards your intention. Blinker checkpoint, blinker checkpoint. Because energy flows where your attention goes, right? So it's crucial, like what he said, is you have to put your attention on your intention. That's how the energy flows. That's how the particles create, right? Thank you, Apple Juice, for the subscription on Kick, bro. I love you, bro. Thank you. Where your attention goes, energy flows. And if that energy is flowing your intention, you can fulfill all of your wildest dreams, bro.
Yeah.
And it all works out,
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure if Kick doesn't do a resub. I don't know. I'm not sure. All I know is that if you want to sub for yourself, I'm pretty positive you have to do it through the web browser. I have never specifically done that, so I'm not quite sure. Julia Brand, what's up, girl? All right. This is the call for you, Julia. There's a link that's pinned to the top of the chat. It's a Kick link. Kick is where we from now on at the end of every stream, we're going to have like a decompression. That's where the breath work and meditation will happen at the end of every stream. Will be on Kick. So I just wanted to give you heads up, Julia, that towards the end of the stream, I'll probably stream for about another hour. And then I got to go to the post office and mail out some merch and stuff. But we'll probably go for about another hour. And so at the end of the stream, like I said, we're probably going to do some breath work. I'm pretty sure the squad over on Kick said they wanted some breath work today. So just giving you a heads up. I miss you too. I'm glad that you're back from your vacation.
Sure. What's the, when you're manifesting, as we're talking about this, like finding your path, what's the difference between attracting energy and chasing energy?
Oh, boy. Attracting.
I would love to hear your thoughts about this in the comments. What's the difference between attracting energy and chasing energy?
Energy and chasing energy. Well, like I said, when you're chasing something, you're already implementing the energy of it running away from you. You know what I mean? And not to say you can't get it, but it's a lot of effort to chase something. It's like even police on a high-speed chase, it's like they might have to crash into other cars and they're chasing you. And when you attract something, it's you are using the powers that have been granted to you from God, universe, whatever you call it or believe in, of it magnetizing to you. And you have that power. It's been the power that's been, we use it on small levels every day. Even if you just set it and say, hey, today I need to take a shower. That's literally, you set a goal, you did it, it's done. You can do that on a scale of anything that happens. And some things may take a lot more time than others. So we have these ideas and expectations we set for ourselves, but that's on us. That's our ego sometimes. That's our wants and desires, and our minds sometimes getting the best of us. And I think that things do take time, but there's always a way. And you can never count yourself out.
What's been the most difficult thing you've ever had to accept?
The most difficult thing that I've ever had to accept is that the things that I can't control. I used to let the things that I can't control me.
Give me an example. Like
how someone perceives your art. As an artist, like Erykah Badu says, we're emotional about our shit. I think she said something like that.
Yeah.
That never changes. But you can't control how someone perceives you. All you can do is put, first of all, to make something, to write something, to have an idea and actualize it is like, that is really the win for real. I'm not just saying that, like, that is like, come on. You know what I mean? You literally manifested something. How people consume it, if you impact anyone, that's literally a bonus to it. That's why we do it, but that's you're literally changing the world. So one thing I've had to accept is like, how people, like, I can't control what people think of me, their perceptions of me. And when I try and control that, it takes me off of my path that I'm on, where I need to go.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Do you guys resonate with that? I resonate with that a lot. Maybe that part was specifically for me. I don't know. But when you try to control how people perceive you and or your art, no matter what it is, for me, it's creating content. It's putting my face on the internet all the time. And I do struggle still to this day, every single day, every time I'm up here, I struggle with entertaining the idea of how people are going to perceive me or what I'm talking about or what I'm posting. And that really can translate into any aspect of people's lives, whether that's their work, the job they do when they're at work, like how good of a job they do. It could be art, it could be painting, it could be writing, it could be cooking, it could be gardening, it could be dressing yourself. You're scared of how people will perceive you. That just really resonates, that when he said, the more I worry about how people perceive me, it just knocks me off of my own path. It just knocks me away from where I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to be doing, and how I'm supposed to feel and perceive everything.
That is something hard, and you have to separate. Like I said, that power of separation of doing what you love to do and not tying it into how people perceive it.
Yeah.
Those are two separate things.
Which is so hard.
It is.
It's so hard, isn't it? And I loved what you said, that when you get fixated on what other people think of you, you're just getting distracted from your path.
Of course.
Because now you're placing energy on, and then you might even shift what you're doing to try and appease them, and then they still won't like it. And that's the craziest part, right? You do what you want, and they don't like it.
Yeah.
And then you do what they want, and they still don't like
That's
it.
right.
And then you don't know who you are anymore, and no one likes it, and you don't like it either.
Yeah.
And you end up not liking yourself, trying to get everyone else to like you.
Fuck. Anyone? I mean, that shit just hit me right in my spiritual testes right there, bro. I gotta run that shit back.
And it into how people perceive it.
Yeah.
Those are two separate things.
which is so hard.
It is.
It's so hard, isn't it? And I love what you said, that when you get fixated on what other people think of you, you're just getting distracted from your path.
Of course.
Because now you're placing energy on, and then you might even shift what you're doing to try and appease them, and then they still won't like it. And that's the craziest part, right? You do what you want, and they don't like it. And then you do what they want, and they still don't like
That's
it.
right.
And then you don't know who you are anymore, and no one likes it, and you don't like it either.
Yeah.
And you end up not liking yourself, trying to get everyone else to like you.
Fuck. Does anyone resonate with that, bro? I resonate with that a lot, bro. It just inevitably ends up at the same road where you don't like or love yourself anymore. So if it always ends up to that same road where you don't love yourself, why stop? We got to stop caring about what other people think and just love you. Really, at the end of the day, that's really it, bro. It's just love you, bro. I want you to love you, bro. Because I love you, bro. And I see you. If nobody's told you today, bro, I'm proud of you, bro.
That's where you don't want to be at.
And that's where you don't want to be at.
And then you're kind of like back to a square one, position of like, okay, having to reestablish yourself, and you got to be right with yourself first. So you nailed it right on the head, man. It's like, you can't really live your life for other people. I always say that's a business you'll never be successful at, is the business of trying to please everyone. And then when you do please everyone, it's like, are you pleasing yourself?
It's a hard lesson as well for people, because we all naturally want to make the people around us happy, and our childhood has so much to do with that. We were speaking a bit earlier, and I was talking about how, like, I was the peacemaker in my family. I was the mediator.
Yeah.
I was the person.
As a young one.
As a 10-year-old.
Wow.
And so I was always trying to keep the peace and listen to people and understand them and understand what was going on. And so I always had to read in between the lines, and I always had to have a great sense of when something was going to kick off and and I wasn't trying to make peace in the sense of like everyone just got to get along. I was always trying to get to the root of it and go, what healing's needed here? And I don't know, I just always did that. And
you know what's special about that, man, is that I think that we choose our parents before, I think as spirits we choose our parents. This is what I believe, right?
Who else believes that? This is a pretty loaded question, right? Because depending on what your answer is, it will ultimately let me know on how you perceive reality. Pretty much. Especially if you can even entertain the ideas and thoughts about the fact that you are predestined to be here, like you chose to come here, you chose to incarnate at this time. And if you chose to incarnate at this specific time, wouldn't you start to think that potentially maybe you chose your parents? Because if you chose to incarnate at this time, whether it's to wake the world up, save the world, or whatever your purpose might be, your purpose might just be that you needed to reach enlightenment. Maybe in your past life you were super wealthy and really greedy, so this life you chose to incarnate in a family that was in extreme poverty so that you could become and take the energy of humbleness. I genuinely believe that I picked a lot of the things that I experienced in my life, and it just took me many rotations around the sun to come to the realization and the acceptance that if I chose everything, then nothing happened to me maliciously. I volunteered for it, just like, I guess in a sense, Yeshua volunteered to be on the cross. I mean, that's what I believe. You don't necessarily have to believe what I believe, but it just changes the trauma and it changes your perception on your experiences and the things that you might perceive as traumatic or just the way you are, the things that happened in your childhood that made you the way you are today. It allows you to remove the victim, poor pity me, how could this happen to me, once you acknowledge that potentially you volunteered for it. Because if you volunteered for it, then you have to be able to look at it subjectively and the information that it's providing to you to be able to make better decisions next time and use it to actually heal and use it to actually move forward and use it to actually stop allowing these negative loops that it creates inside of your head. Because if you volunteered for it, then it can't be that of a bad of experience, especially if you knew that you had to go through it. Interesting take.
It's just a concept that I believe. And some people be like, well, I was in a family where it wasn't easy. I would have never chosen that. But you don't understand that, to be one of the billion of sperm.
You're right. You're right. You are right, Julia. Thank you for reminding me. Shout out Marley, my daughter who passed away. Anyone else who have had children pass away. That means my daughter chose me. Dang, man. That means my daughter chose me as her parent. Oh, thank you, Julia.
That make it into the egg and conceptualize. You really fought to be in this world, right? And I truly believe that God doesn't give you what you want. God gives you what you need, first and foremost. And you don't know how the development, there are some people who need a nurturing family that's perfect, right? And then there are some people who actually learn maybe even more and become more of a positive force for the world to change it by learning of what not to do from their parents directly all the time, or not all the time, but like in certain situations, you know? So I just think that, you know, you being the mediator, you were on a course, you were learning at such a young age of things to apply or what not to apply to your marriage. And the fact that you were that, because we talked about it off camera, the fact that you were a mediator, the fact that you were that for your family at such a young age, it's just incredible, because look at the path that it's led you to. Man, you're impacting everybody, man. You're impacting like the world, you know, and me and families, and you're really changing it with like the person you are and the heart that you have, you know. So wow, I just got to pay my respect to you.
No, you're too kind, man. I got lucky. I met good men. I feel like important people, and we've talked about in previous interviews when you've come on about your mother's role in your life.
Oh yeah.
And how pivotal she was. And for me, my monk teachers, you met Radhanathwami when he came to my school. Came over a couple of years back.
Amazing.
And you met him, and meeting him was so pivotal to my whole spiritual journey.
Yeah, look at this. Look at this, man. Come on. Yeah.
That's Radhi's genius. She's super smart when it comes to figuring out how to help people. But I was going to ask you, when you're talking about kids picking their parents, Noah picked you?
Yeah, he did.
Talk to us about how fatherhood has transformed your views on the learning experience of what you've learned from fatherhood that you couldn't have learned from anything else.
Well, when you have a kid and you see them and they look like you and they look like their mom, you see that they smile like you or smile like her, how, you know, you see all these things and you realize, okay, and then they kind of look like my brother and they kind of look like her granddad and her, you know, all these different family members, right? And you're like, this is really crazy. And he'll do something that's like reminiscent of what you used to do, right? So then I realized that, okay, the DNA is like a computer. It's information that gets passed on and on and on, right? So you're really the culmination of a whole lineage, right? And in you. So one of the things that I learned from him, because there are times in my life where I'm like, man, I wish I could talk to my grandma. You know, my grandma was a female black captain in World War II, man. She was crazy. She was incredible. And like, or my granddad, they met in World War II, right? Or like, I wish I could like, I'd be like, man, I wish I could like speak to them or like get advice from them now, you know?
Sure, wow.
I only known them as a little kid. And then I realized that the information is already in me. All I have to do is just go deeper within and really connect with that. And that's something that I learned from my son being born. Somehow that clicked, is like, he is the culmination of our lineage, all the DNA from my side, from his mom's side, and so on and so forth. And he's got something special going on. So that's one thing I learned. And another thing I learned is to go back to the simplistic beauties of life. When we're on walks out in nature, he's so fascinated with like the flowers and the birds and like just like, oh, the this or that or bug beat, you know. He's like, and it giving me a whole new excitement for that.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate him for teaching me. I feel like he's teaching me as much as we teach him. I feel like he's teaching all of us a lot as well. And he's also teaching all of us that like, hey, we can be happy right now. He's like, even if he's like distraught or something, he'll go do something to be happy right there. And he chooses it. And I love that.
Man, I'm so glad I asked you that question, because I knew you'd have such a deep answer for it. Like your answer, the first part of it, the idea that your child has all of that within. Like you were just saying, you wish you could talk to your grandparents.
Yeah.
Which I wish I could interview your grandparents. I mean, that sounds like a phenomenal
thank you.
journey and story to hear about it. And I want to know how much more you know about what they did or how much you don't. But I love the idea that we actually have it encapsulated within us. Like it's coded in us.
It is.
And even if we're unaware of it, I was talking to a researcher the other day. I was doing some research for my next book, and she was talking to me. We were finding this research that was talking about how when kids are told their ancestral stories, they have a much deeper sense of belonging.
Yeah.
And so the reason why so many of us feel so lost today is we've never been told deep stories about where our parents come from, where our grandparents come from, what they went through. Not in a way to make us feel like a victim or feel at a disadvantage, but to hear a story from the perspective of this is your heritage.
Yeah.
And then you feel like you belong to something so much more bigger and beyond you. Whereas most of us are just like, oh yeah, I'm from West Hollywood or whatever, right? It's like it's such a like, you know, it's like a temporary residence.
It
is. Sorry about the tears. I know you're going to say I don't have to apologize, but I just felt an overwhelming presence of my daughter and God and just started crying. But who of you feel like that? Feel like that? Because I'm the exact same way. I'm the exact same way, where I don't feel like I have like this ancestral lineage of like heritage, like the word he used, where I feel like I belong to something. I don't feel like I belong to my community here. I don't feel like hearing stories of my grandma or grandpa or great-grandma or great-grandpa, it does give you a sense of connection to something bigger than yourself when you come to the realization that you, like he said, in your DNA is all of your ancestors' code. All of them. All the way back. I did my genealogy too, actually. Me and Queen Trip. I'm a felon. I went to jail, committed some felonies right after I turned 18. And in Utah, if you commit a felony, they take your DNA. So I wasn't worried about the government having my DNA. I was gifted to Ancestry.coms, not 23andMe, not Epstein's homies, but I'm sure Ancestry is the same. But anyways, so I'm 60% England and Northeastern Europe, 15% Wales, 11% Denmark, 6% Germanic Europe, 4% Scotland, 3% the Netherlands, 1% Southern Italy, and the Eastern Mediterranean. Quite a concoction, huh? Interesting.
But like when you know you belong to something eternal, like I was talking to the researcher, I was saying that in my life, the things that have helped me the most when I'm going through a tough time, a difficult time, a real low, is recognizing that I'm part of a 5,000-year-old tradition. So when I'm repeating the Gita, which is a 5,000-year-old scripture, which is the text I learned as a monk, when I realize I'm connected to that lineage, I feel unstoppable.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, that survived for 5,000 years. I'm going to be all right. Like, I'm going to be okay.
Right.
Whereas when you just think like, oh man, I've just been on the planet for like 30 years and I'm trying to figure it out, it can feel quite uncomfortable.
Facts.
And so I love what you're saying, that actually inside your son Noah, there is the coding of his grandparents.
It is, and all of us. It's like time traveling. People always try and figure out how to preserve themselves. You know, there's the expression, oh, I'm living through my kids, or I'm living, that's real. I realize how much power these simple expressions have.
Tell me more, I like this.
Like communication can save a nation, or like, you know, but like, yeah, I really feel like we always try and think like, oh, there's not enough time. There's a real truth to I'm living through my kids or whoever you choose to. I don't even think it has to be your kids. I think that your blood, your lineage, it's like you really do time travel. You know, 1,000 years from now, there may be some descendants that look like us, you know, or like slight, you know, you'd be like, oh, you know, I look like my dad's dad.
You do?
Yeah. I've never met him. You know, he unfortunately passed, you know, when I was super little. I never even met him, but he's a part of me too. And I think that's also why it's important to work on yourself and to heal certain traumatic experiences, because with all this information we pass on, you also pass on the good and the bad. You know what I mean? So,
well said.
You know, you heal things health-wise and you heal things traumatic-wise, you know, or trauma-wise. And, you know, it's really important to work on yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, because you pass on all of that as well.
How? It's so true, bro. You pass it on, one, through your code and just through your energy, bro. All of that stuff gets transmuted and other humans absorb it. Whether that's the kids, whether that's your spouse, whether that's the person at the gas station that's being annoying, whether that's the person that's going below the speed limit, everybody absorbs it. And so what kind of energy are you trying to transmit to the other humans?
Just because you understand something doesn't mean you have to accept it. And that's something that I had to learn the hard way. When you feel like you're all over the place and things aren't happening, sometimes you just need a little bit of structure and strategy to jumpstart it and build a foundation to build on. You do have to set your boundaries and respect who you are, because you will lose a sense of yourself by trying to take care of everyone else. You will lose a sense of yourself if you don't set these boundaries.
That's what's so interesting, right? Like within you, you have the coding of the greatness and the heritage, and you have the coding of the unhealed generational trauma that keeps being passed down. What was something you had to look at in your background and past, generationally, traumatically, that wasn't healed, that you were like, I'm not gonna pass this to Noah, like this has to stop this time?
Oh, so many things, so many, like worry, one thing. I used to worry so much, create all of these scenarios in my head, and I think that's like a double-edged sword. You know, when you have an imagination and you're creative, you create, right? So you can create good, you can create bad, but one of the experiences of life has taught me is to never worry. No matter what, you're gonna be fine. You know, I think one of my biggest fears used to be like, what if I lose everything, right? What if I have to go back to, you know, growing up in Detroit in the hood, blah, blah, blah. And then it's just like, well, I was happy there too. Like, I shouldn't be scared to lose any of this stuff, because this stuff is conditional. And it's like, I'm gonna be good wherever I'm at. I remember when I talked to Sadhguru, I was like, where's your favorite place in the world? He's like, wherever I'm at. And I was like, damn. You know, so it kind of goes back to that like, that's one of the things I don't want to pass on to them. It's like, you never have to worry, you know. And, you know, you could be fueled, you could let something inspire you to be greater, you could let something light a fire under you, but like, don't ever worry, because you have what it takes to to get to wherever you got to get to, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And how do you kind of imprint that in a young child? Like, how do you...
You imprint that in a young child by building up his confidence. And that's one of the things I love about my boy. It's like, he's so confident. He's like, you know, I never am like, that's something that I want to keep feeding him. Even on the song I wrote about him on my album, I said, I see my inner child in him and still the remnants. Will he lose it to the world as an imminent? Or is it something that me and his mom have instilled in him? And the confidence you lose, you could build again.
Oh,
it's
so
like...
good. So good.
Yeah, and like, I just want to water that. I think that when I was a kid, my mom and my dad came up in like a civil rights moment in the country. Like, my mom had to drink from like a different water fountain. You know, my family has been through a lot. My mom's great aunt, who was like an old woman, my mom would go visit her in North Carolina, was born a slave. So that just goes to show you how close that lineage is too, right? It's like, it kind of feels like it's so far away, but it's not. She was an old woman and my mom was a baby, but my mom is alive now. So the connection of that is like few and far between. My point being is that my mom and my dad did the best that they could, but they came from an era where they had to really be, don't be too loud, be controlled, don't do it, get out of line. Like, you know, my mom would be like, when you get pulled over, like, make sure your hat is off and like they see your face and you be respectful. And I think there's a lot to that, but it was coming from a little bit of a fear-based place sometimes. And that's something that I've recognized, and that's something that my mom has helped me recognize too, through all of the knowledge she's given me and my dad. But like, one of the things I want to pass on to him is that, like, be confident in who you are, because you have what it takes. You could already tell he has a great heart. He has a great spirit. He loves trying to make people laugh, you know. Not even at 2 years old, he was like, before, like 1 year old, like telling, you know, trying to like make you smile. And it's just like, just want to keep watering that confidence in him, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And that confidence kind of talk.
For one, I just want to point out how I love the fact that he says keep watering him, you know, just like the seeds I be trying to plant in people's minds. Just got to water it. Just got to water it until it becomes a beautiful flower or a apple tree so we can make apple juice, you know, but it's the confidence, bro. Do you think that there is some aspect of this matrix we live in that attacks children's confidence? Like, just genuinely asking you, do you believe that there is an aspect of the matrix that is mentally on like a psyche level attacking children's confidence? I'd be curious to hear your thoughts, because I think that's one of the things that's the most destructive to our society, is that there's a lot of people that just struggle with confidence, self-confidence, just to be able to do anything. Some people don't have enough confidence to even confront someone who hurts them, you know? I just think that it's just been instilled in us from a very young age that confidence is something that's hard to achieve.
It's nicely to the second practice in your book, you talk about strategizing.
Yeah, strategizing.
And I love that you went there, because I think a lot of people see spirituality and strategy as opposites, or they separate them.
Right.
And I know we've always vibed on the fact that, to me, they go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
Because strategy is just intentionality in action, right? Like that's what it is.
Strategy is intentionality in action. I love
right?
that.
Yeah. It's like you have
Strategy is intentionality in action. That's pretty gas, bro. Strategy is intentionality in action.
intention, and then you get activated around an intention, and that's how you strategize. But I think often people think strategy has to be conniving or like some sort of manipulation, but that's not what you mean. So when you say we need to get strategic, how do we build the skill of becoming strategic, and what does it mean?
Well, I think you recognize, like you said, it's just strategy to me is the key to getting, is one of the keys to move from where you are to where you have to be, because you identify where you desire to be, because you identify so much, and you get to research, you get to plot and plan. Nothing that is really amazing in life is doesn't come without a plan. You know what I mean?
Nothing amazing in life comes without a plan. Nothing amazing in life or worthwhile comes easy. Why do you think that they have structured this life to be as convenient as possible? Because maybe that's why a lot of people resonate and have had periods of time where they enter the energy of feeling like hopeless, or like none of this is meaning. This is all meaningless. There's no meaning behind of it, because nothing worthwhile or meaningful comes easy. So that's why everything's a smart device and can just bring it to you at the earliest convenience, so you don't ever have to ever put in work to do really anything. Just saying.
A lot of spontaneous things, and I do believe in the energy of spontaneity, and but strategizing to me is so important, and there's so many ways to do it. You know, you can study someone from afar. That's kind of one of the beauties of the internet, is like you can kind of study and know someone you really respect, or you may have someone in your family, or you may have someone in your neighborhood, or you may have someone, but even say someone from across the world that you really respect, you can study a lot of their what they have put out in the world.
Yes,
and sometimes that's all you need. There have been times where when you get to know someone fully, you might get let down a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like, because you have all these expectations and you meet them and it's like, wait, what? You know, but I think there comes again the power of separation. Like, you got to separate that. And, you know, so I know I'm talking a lot, but
No, it's good.
Yeah, I do think that like strategizing is a real key to happiness, you know, and it doesn't have to be like a deep thing. Strategizing could just be as simple as writing your intentions down, strategizing your day. How are you going to approach this? I always like, before I get into a studio session or anything, I always like meditate and I write down what I would like to experience in the session. You know, what would I like to get done? How would that feel? And I kind of lock onto that feeling before I go and do what I got to do.
Yeah, I'm glad that you pointed out that strategizing starts with studying. Because then it becomes, you study something and then you apply it. And that's what strategy is. You study it first and then you apply it. And I was thinking about it, as you were saying, like strategizing your day, I was thinking about, if you think about New York, it's a grid system. That's a strategy.
That's a strategy.
It's a strategy. Like, that's what it is. If you travel to Europe, you'll see there was a strategy in how towns were built, where like the church would be in the middle of the town.
Exactly.
There'd be a river flowing through the middle. There'd be a bridge over the river. There was a strategy in how it was built in order to create an experience of the city. And I feel, you know, that's what it is. It's thinking about your life and thinking, what are the pillars and priorities in my life?
Yeah.
Like what are the things that are like, almost like building a city.
Exactly.
Right? It goes, okay, well, a city needs a fire station because sometimes there's going to be a fire.
Right.
It needs a school because I need to learn. It needs a hospital because sometimes you're going to get ill. Like, what does a city need? And you've got to look at your life in the same way and go,
exactly.
What does my life need?
And sometimes that's exactly what your life needs, is structure.
Yes.
You know, when you feel like you're all over the place and things aren't happening, sometimes you just need a little bit of structure and strategy to jumpstart it and build a foundation to build on. You know, so that's a perfect analogy.
Yeah. What was the
Fuck. Can we get fire emotes in the chat, bro? That shit was gas, bro. Some people just need structure, bro, to be able to build the building blocks, to build a foundation and to build on it. Fuck. That one just hit me hard.
the best strategy you ever built to achieve something in your life? What example would you give from your own journey? When were you most strategic effectively?
There have been times where I was very strategic and times where I wasn't. And one of the times in my life where strategy really helped out was just like, I would say securing my first record deal. I always knew I would get a record deal. I would talk about it frequently with my friends in 8th grade. I would talk about when I sell out when I sell out the Palace, Auburn Hill, all these things that I ended up doing later. I just knew it was gonna happen. I just didn't know how. And we all know that like you can make plans and God laughs at it, but I really feel like when your heart's in the right place and you have the intentions and you put a little bit of strategy to it, okay, like one of the things that I've always wanted to do is like, okay, how can I get on the radio? You know, how can I be on the radio? Then I did some homework and my friend, there's a radio show where you can battle rap and end up rapping on the radio, and people, okay, that's a way to get on the radio. So how do I get down there? Okay. So I need a ride down there. I would like plan out every aspect. I need to make sure I have a ride to get to the radio station to be able to battle rap. Okay, I need to write a rap for when I get on the radio so I have something to rap over, and so it's like you strategize every aspect of it, and it can be fun. It doesn't have to feel like homework. It don't got to feel like schoolwork. None of us want to do more work. In fact, when you strategize, you probably are eliminating a lot of work, a lot more work. Don't get fooled thinking that like you're getting ahead by not doing the work. I'm telling you, when you strategize and plan things out, you're eliminating hours of work. So that is the reason, a lot of us may not have time to read this book. You think like, I don't have time to read a book. I'm telling you, like reading a book, not just my book, but a book that impacts you, saves time. It doesn't take time.
Does anybody resonate with that one? Dead ass, like for real, bro. Reading a book saves time. It doesn't take time. We read a book today. I think we're going to start reading more books. Keep reading books together. I like books. Do you like books? I've read a lot of books. I've read lots and lots of books because I've done 10 years incarcerated, and that was like my hobby, was to read books. And then I fell out of it when I got out of prison, and then over the last few years, I've liked to think I've started the nice little library. You know what I mean? I like books. I like reading a book with you. This book was written in 1913, and there's some weird verbiage and how the grammar's set up and some words that I wasn't familiar with. But I hope that I'm not like some weird monotone voice. What if it would be so cool, actually, freaking just do audiobooks, bro. I'll just freaking record myself. Just kidding. Yeah, doing it live can also help understand what it's saying. That's one reason why I think I want to maybe start having a little segment of the streams where we keep reading books. Like we'll keep reading the history of magic. You know what I'm saying? Because dude, if I was just like reading the book by myself, bro, I would have perplexity to ask questions, but it just makes it a lot more enjoyable to be even to have the conversations with you guys and make connections with you guys, because then it makes it more real, makes it more believable on my end of what I'm reading, because other people are interpreting it the same way or a different way, which then will shift my perspective. Come on now, bruh. Fuck. I think it would be dope.
I'm so glad you said that, because that's all it does. All it does when you're learning, all it does, it saves time. It stops you from making mistakes. It helps you avoid the ones that someone else made before you. You'll probably make some new mistakes for sure.
Yeah, of course.
But you'll avoid so many. And I loved what you said, the way you broke it down. Like, ultimately, strategizing is building steps to that goal, and you're trying to break it down to the step that I can do today and now. That is small and easy, all the way up. And I love the way you work backwards, where it's like, all right, I want to be on the radio. All right, let me break that down. Wait a minute, that means I need to go this, that means I need to do this, that means first I need to do this. Okay, that means right now I just need to do this. And I think sometimes we live on level 21 of where we want to go, but then we haven't got the elevator down to level 0 to go up, right? Like, we just, our mind is in level 21.
And we get mad that we're not on level 21.
Exactly.
And I'm a victim of that. And I think that, you know, I've gone through experience. I'm not a victim. I have done that before. I've experienced that.
I hope your prediction comes true, Melissa. I hope Bible Unveiled 3 comes out this week. Oh boy, do I. If it comes out on Tuesday or Thursday, please, you can watch it. I was just going to say wait to watch it with me, but I might watch it a time before if it comes out, so I have a better understanding of what we're going to be going into. But I hope it comes out too.
So I know how frustrating it could be, but don't let it stress you unless it's you stress. There's distress and then there's you stress, and that you stress can motivate you. It really can. It can light a fire under you, go through it. Distress can kind of weigh you down. So you have the power to take any aspects, even depression, and let it either weigh you down or let it fuel you. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think
that's powerful. Distress or you stress. Because you have to be able to look subjectively at the energy of stress and be able to separate stress that is and can be familiarized with like a fuel, motivation, energy, drive towards something. And then there is distress, where it like consumes you and makes you want to bed rot and sit in your bed and scroll TikTok all day long and not really do anything and not take care of yourself by eating or brushing your hair or brushing your teeth or whatever it may be, you know? Do you guys resonate with that?
I know it's a lot of people frustrated. I get frustrated still. I'm nowhere near perfect. I'm not talking to you as an expert in any way, shape, or form. I'm literally talking to you as a reflection of you and someone who has gone through these experiences and have just like and given the game that I've learned, you know, in straight black and white and examples of how I've done it, you know. So yeah,
for sure. You gave us an idea of when you were strategic. What was the time when you were chaotic? Right.
So there are times where I've let things go. I didn't strategize. Like, there's always things you haven't thought about that you got to come back to later. Like when I had a fell out with some family members, like even my mom, our relationship got tainted for a long time. And it was like, I was not calling her, I was not checking in, I wasn't doing anything. That a son, and now having a son, I really feel the depth of that, you know what I'm saying? And I could have strategized that better. You know what I mean? I could have strategized a lot of things better, and you always have 20/20 in hindsight.
Totally. No, and I agree. It's just good to know, because it's the same for me. And I love how you said that strategy is also sometimes with people. You know, like we say the wrong thing at the wrong time. Or you say the right thing, but at the wrong time. Or you say the right thing, but in the wrong way. Or you say the right thing, but in the wrong place. Or you say the right thing and, to the wrong person, right? It's like, it has to be strategic.
It does.
Because otherwise it's not digested. We just think, as long as I'm saying the right thing, everything will be okay. But if you say the right thing in the wrong place, to the wrong person, at the wrong time, in the wrong way, with the wrong word, the wrong language, it doesn't matter how true the thing you said was.
Right.
And that's what strategy is going, wait, how do I make sure this lands?
Wow.
Like, what is required for this to actually have an impact on someone and to serve them and help them?
Yeah, and that's what we're here to do, is to serve, really. In every aspect. It always comes down to being of service, you know? And anything we put out there, in any interview, in any book, in any song, is really of service to whatever the moment it relates to. You know what I mean? So, and you're right, saying the right thing to the wrong. And the thing is, you're kind of the only one who can dictate, right and wrong is so opinionated depending on who you talk to.
For sure.
There are a lot of people who think that, anything that we could think is wrong, somebody could argue how it's right. Even down to black and white, somebody can argue that this text that says the exact same thing means this thing, or this means that thing. So I think it's important to come from a place of understanding And this leads to something else I want to talk about, because just because you understand something doesn't mean you have to accept it.
Ooh.
Just because you understand it, and that's something that I had to learn the hard way. I thought that I was being this spiritual guy by, if I get into a disagreement with someone, understanding where they come from. And then ultimately turns to me not respecting myself, because I'll understand where they're coming from and be like, okay, like, I get it. But the fact that I still get it, it doesn't mean that I can't express myself and I'm not valid.
Yes.
So I want to make sure that everyone knows that, because I think that that was something that I learned, is to set boundaries. And that's like that big B word. That's like the biggest B word there is boundaries, that I've learned this year. And like that has really, really, really changed a lot of dynamics with people, and changed a lot of, it's really created a lot of happiness in my life.
What's up, baby girl? Queen Trip is up in the house. What's up, girl? Let me get those hearts. Let me get some balloons or confetti. We can get balloons right here. Queen Trip's in the house. Can we get bees in the chat? If when he said that big B word, you were listening, your ears perked up. Boundaries. Huh? Boundaries. Because I think in all capacities, I think a lot of people, I even struggle with boundaries in certain aspects. Fuck, there are some boundaries I struggle with myself and within myself to hold boundaries with myself, you know? You know what I'm saying? Dang, we got Queen Trip. We got bees in the trap. Bees in the trap. It's a weird, because the bees are freaking Bohemian Grove bees, the Utah State Beehive State, Freemasons. You know, now that we're really talking about this, bro. Okay, we went over. We read the first portion of the introduction section to the history of magic, written in 1913. Pretty much, I mean, if y'all recalling what we were talking about or what we read, it pretty much was saying that in the book called The History of Magic, that the Freemasons control the magic. Was I wrong? Am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong. If you don't recall, you can say I don't recall. If you had a hard time understanding what the text was because I was reading it out loud to you through a camera, that's okay too. But what my gathering of what they were talking about when it said Rosicrucians, Illuminati, and the Freemasons was they were basically saying in the book called The History of Magic that the Freemasons control the magic knowledge, the knowledge of magic. The Masonic rituals or rites is what they said, you know? Fucking crazy, dude. Fucking crazy, dude. I need a grown up, dude.
Why did boundaries become so prominent in the last years, you said?
Oh, just to remind you. Okay, so check this out. For everybody moving forward that's here right now, I'm just going to turn Facebook off. Facebook is having issues. They're tripping out on me. But for everybody who is here right now, if you ever miss a live stream on the Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, I'm going to immediately after the live stream, well, not immediately because it takes a while to do it, but I'll leave the live stream up for as long as it takes me to post the live stream as a separate video, not as a live stream. I think that maybe I'll be able to reach these watch time hours on YouTube and get more traction if I'm posting them as videos of the live stream than leaving them in the live section. Okay, so if you ever miss a stream, they will be posted every day on YouTube as a video. And then once the video posts, I will delete the live stream.
I think I was trying to be a hero in every situation I was in. I'm an empathetic person, so I love to... I really can feel when people are going through something. Even when the world is going through something, it's like I kind of really have to, like, really...
Just a second.
protect myself energetically because I take on a lot of people's problems. You know what I'm saying? Right. I can't help it. And it's not a good... I don't look...
So prominent in the last years, you said.
I think I was trying to be a hero in every situation I was in. I'm an empathetic person, so I love to... I really can feel when people are going through something. Even when the world is going through something, it's like I kind of really have to, like, really protect myself energetically because I take on a lot of people's problems. You know what I'm saying? Right. I can't help it. And it's not a good... I don't look at it as a bad thing. I just look at it as how I am.
Green hearts if you resonate with that. I'm definitely the type of person that feels like I gotta protect my energy, bro, at all times because I am an alchemist. I'm a transmitter, a transmuter, bro. I take in all the energy everywhere, bro. I take in energy everywhere I go. Everybody's saying, what's up, Cletus? I needed a refill. You can get yours at tripoverdrip.shop. I don't know if you guys even noticed this, but I freaking came prepared. I freaking brought both of them. Tripoverdrip.shop. Anyways, I'm always hyper aware. Sometimes I don't have the best control over it, but I'm hyper aware of my energy and feeling like I need to like take a breath. And something that I've really struggled with over the last few months, which is a work in progress every day, is being able to actually acknowledge to myself that I don't have to keep grinding. I can take a little bit to decompress, to calm down. I'm one of those individuals, which is where my autistic homies at, you know what I mean? Neurodivergence, where I like have a plan and a structure. And if anything interrupts that plan or structure, I fucking just mentally freak out. Unacceptable! I just like wig out when there's like something unfamiliar that just like it's spontaneously brought up in something which I have predestined is going to happen, because I roughly structure my day out. Honestly, I hate to say this, but I'm consistently looking at the time, and my days are structured out in my head in like 15 to 30 minute increments the whole time I'm awake. So I pretty much roughly understand exactly how my day, every day is going to go. And so when something just like spontaneously is interjected, or it like, because that would just drastically affect the, I guess, schedule in my head, all of a sudden I fucking start freaking out and shit. And then when those happen, I get highly elevated emotions, and it takes so long for me to decompress after that. I'm glad that I'm in a position today where I'm able to actually be aware of it, because for a long time I wasn't, and then it would just bleed out into my environment and the people around me and the way I acted towards people when I'm like angry or irritated or stressed or bugged out, you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying? So I really resonate with that shit. Whereas, oh man, yeah. Happy Monday, buddy. This is a good interview. Just saying.
You know, do I wish sometimes that I could just cut things off? Yeah, but it taught me that I can. I just have to set boundaries on what I can and can't accept. And this year, yeah, there are a lot of things that I was tired of feeling uncomfortable in certain situations. I was tired of letting people walk all over me. And just because I understood or I get it, I'm not respecting myself. And I didn't realize that I wasn't respecting myself in that. You know, there are times where, yeah, I can't go to this thing. I can't do this. Or, you know what? I can't go here. I can't go to Dubai and do the show because I have to be here for my son. I got to take my son trick-or-treating. You know, I had to set some of those boundaries that may have cost me one thing, but I gained another. And one of the most important things I gained back from setting boundaries is the trust in myself. You know, the confidence that I feel like I have been building up. So,
okay, so back where he was talking about confidence and the trust in yourself. That energy is undeniable. Tell me I'm wrong. The boundaries that you're able to set are a direct reflection of your confidence and the trust in yourself. I'm telling you. Yay? Nay? Nah? Get out of here, boy. Shit. Hell nah. Hell yeah. What's up? Your ability to hold boundaries is a mirror of how much you trust yourself.
for so long.
Yeah, and I think we're scared of setting boundaries because we are scared of what we lose when we do.
I know.
And it could be FOMO, it could be, you know, the fear of becoming irrelevant, the fear of becoming insignificant,
the fear of losing a person.
The fear of losing a person. But I learned that too. I remember a time in my life where I had so much compassion fatigue, where I just felt like I was there for everyone else, but I had no, and when I say income, I don't mean financially, I mean there was no energy income coming in.
And you were just a piece of you. You were just a part of you at that point.
Exactly. And you're just, and it's what you just said, you're trying to be a superhero and you're trying to be the guy, not in an egotistic way. No. You actually just care about people.
For real.
But I realized very, very quickly at that time that unless I was full, rested, complete, you know, I wasn't actually able to help anyone. I was just giving people my leftovers and not the best of myself.
Unless I was full, rested, and complete, I was just giving people the leftovers of myself. Holy shit, that fucking hit me deep.
And how to enjoy it. And you got to enjoy your life too.
Totally, totally. And I just found that what really helped me was remembering that I didn't have enough to give anyone else if I wasn't in a good place myself.
Period.
And that didn't mean I wanted to get to a good place just for myself. The reason I wanted to get to a good place is so I could give more good to others. And therefore, there had to be a structure. There had to be an order of, all right, well, I need to take care of myself.
Right.
I need to be full. I need to be ready, and then I can extend myself. But if I keep extending myself to everyone else, chances are I get bitter at them. I'll get mad at myself.
Yeah.
And then I won't have anything to give.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Yeah. And it's an interesting one, boundaries, because I feel like, I think we also think we set boundaries for other people, but we do it for ourselves.
We do it for ourselves.
Because people always be like, oh, this person keeps breaking my boundaries. And I'm like, well, no, you keep breaking your boundaries.
Exactly.
Right?
No, yeah, it's you know, it's like the boundaries, forgiveness, they're not just there for you, you know. Forgiveness is for you as well, and boundaries are for you as well. Yeah, it's been tough. I think that I grew up letting people walk all over me. I think I grew up by letting people take advantage of me straight up, you know, just to be real. And I saw that in my parents. Especially my dad, he would let people take advantage of him. He was a very nice guy. And there's nothing, like I said, right or wrong. It's an opinion, you know, it's just a perspective. So I'm not criticizing him or saying he was wrong in any way. It's just the kind-spirited, hearted person he is. But along with that, you do have to set your boundaries and respect who you are, because you will lose a sense of yourself by trying to take care of everyone else. You will lose a sense of yourself if you don't set these boundaries. You will lose a sense of yourself if you don't take the time out to keep connecting with yourself, even if it's something you love. I lost like the passion of like watching anime. I remember when I was working so hard. It's like I hadn't sat and watched anime. I love watching anime. I love Dragon Ball Z. I love like My Hero Academia and Demon Slayer and Evangelions and all these things. And that's just one thing that I love, right? So it's like I have to take time out to do that because it is really important to me.
Yeah.
So
Shit. You have to take time to connect with yourself, bro. I know that sounds it's harder than it sounds, for real. Because we're stuck in a life, the matrix, a simulation, the system, the country, that seems as if it's always on just this go, go, go basis. There's never time to rest and smell the roses. You know what I mean? And so when that's why the universe isolates you. You are right, actually. Isolation could just be a metaphor for the cocoon of a caterpillar to a butterfly, which is necessary in the evolution of butterflies. There has to be a transformation, right? There has to be alchemy and transmutation of energy in order for the caterpillar to become the butterfly. If we just take it to ourselves, there's definitely the necessary to go with inside and change the things inside to become a butterfly. Not Project Monarch, but just like a butterfly, you know? That's powerful, bro.
No, all of us have demands. Some of us have family. Some of us work 2 jobs, 3 jobs. Some of us, and you say it's impossible, but I'm telling you, if you make that time, you will create more time to be the better version of yourself in any of those situations. I promise you.
Yeah.
Marie Moon. Big Sean. Oh, we've been hearing some spiritual gold, dude, from Big Sean. If you guys, just to let Marie Moon, let her know what Big Sean's been speaking, we can just drop fire emotes, bro, because he's been dropping fire, just bar. But I'm gonna run this back so you can catch up for where we're headed to from where we were at.
And my parents, especially my dad, he would let people take advantage of him. He was a very nice guy. And there's nothing, like I said, right or wrong. It's an opinion, you know, it's just a perspective. So I'm not criticizing him or saying he was wrong in any way. It's just the kind-spirited, hearted person he is. But along with that, you do have to set your boundaries and respect who you are, because you will lose a sense of yourself by trying to take care of everyone else. You will lose a sense of yourself if you don't set these boundaries. You will lose a sense of yourself if you don't take the time out to keep connecting with yourself, even if it's something you love. I lost like the passion of like watching anime. I remember when I was working so hard. It's like I hadn't sat and watched anime. I love watching anime. I love Dragon Ball Z. I love like My Hero Academia and Demon Slayer and Evangelions and all these things. And that's just one thing that I love, right? So it's like I have to take time out to do that because it is really important to me.
Yeah.
So I know all of us have demands. Some of us have family. Some of us work 2 jobs, 3 jobs. Some of us, and you say it's impossible, but I'm telling you, if you make that time, you will create more time to be the better version of yourself in any of those situations. I promise you.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing that really helped me as a boundary, and this doesn't apply if something's life-threatening or urgent, but sometimes someone would call me up and be like, oh, I had a fight with my wife. I had a fight with my husband. And my natural inclination was to like fix it. So like, yeah, let's jump on the phone. I'm going to help you through it right now.
Because that's how you were as a 10-year-old.
Because that's how I was as a 10-year-old.
Yeah, and so on and so forth. Yeah, go ahead though.
And then I realized that actually my new response started to be, yeah, let's talk in 3 days. And the reason was, A, because maybe I had stuff on and I couldn't run to it. Like I said, it doesn't apply to life-threatening.
Of course.
If someone calls me and goes, I go to the hospital, obviously I'm going to be there. But if someone's saying, hey, this happened, that happened, I realized I may not be in a position to quit everything in my life to go and be on this call. And those 3 days, that person actually had to do some processing for themselves. And when I was just jumping on the phone with them trying to save and solve their problem, I was actually just enabling them to not have to process it themselves. So most people in 3 days would say to me, they'd text me and go, Jay, actually, I think I figured it out. And I'd be like, great, I'd love to hear it. Let's jump on a call. And now they talk to me like, look, I thought about it. You know, they said this, I said that, but I've, you know, and it just showed me that so much of the time we think we're saving people, we're actually just enabling them. And every time we think we're going to solve their problem, we're actually just creating more issues for them, because everyone needs to learn to process mentally and emotionally themselves. And so sometimes, like, jumping in to help someone, you actually end up hurting them. Because
a big one.
Yeah, because they need to do it themselves. And so sometimes I had to set that boundary with myself.
Fuck. Fire, bro. It's so true, bro. You got I mean, we can relate it to just like your awakening, right? We'll take the spiritual, the personal aspect out of all of it. We'll talk about waking up to the reality of this matrix, this 3D fractal light matrix that we live inside. The Jews, the Iran war, Epstein, food poison, 5G radiation. You're awakening to what's happening, right? The conspiracies or whatever. No, you cannot get anyone to believe them unless they process the information. You cannot get anyone to believe you on some of these conspiracies unless they process the information themselves, unless they see the things themselves, hear the things themselves, read the things themselves. It'll be like talking to a brick wall trying to explain to somebody how the moon landing was fake. You know? It's the same thing when you're dealing with like people and interacting with individuals when they're dealing with inner turmoil about certain aspects of their life. There is a certain aspect of it that is necessary for that individual to process the information, process the emotions, process the pain themselves, to be able to have the perspective shift even 1 degree that can make it for the better. But like he said, if you're the type of individual that's going to answer that call and do all the legwork for them, they don't process the information correctly. So they, at that point, you just did all the work and they're just going to continue that same loop because they didn't have to experience it in whole, their whole being, their mind, their emotions, their thoughts, their actions, their reactions, the uncomfortableness and the comfort of it. What's up, Demo Drew? What's up, dude? What's up, bro? I'm glad you're here. I don't think we've ever really had a conversation. I'm giving you all the emotes today, bro. We're getting balloons, confetti, all of it, bro.
It wasn't like I don't want to be there for my friend or a family member. I just realized being there for them meant not being there right now. And they didn't know that. But then when I saw them benefit from it, I realized that actually space sometimes gave them what they needed more than my words could.
Yeah, because it goes back to like we were talking about. A lot of the answers are in you. You know, a lot of the things you're looking for, the resolutions, they are in you. And sometimes it may take a little while to rise to the surface, and sometimes they'll figure out. But one of the worst things you could do is impact somebody in the moment of them being emotional, or in the moment of rage, or in the, you know, influencing them. You could really ruin something, you know, because you're feeding off of their emotions. It's like, I should just leave. Yeah, you should just leave. Like, instead of just being like, hey, take some time to, you know, talk through it. You know, it's really, that's a real important, great lesson, man.
Yeah, it's helped me a lot.
That's a great way of exercising boundaries.
Yeah, exactly. What are other daily habits? You talk about journaling and meditation in the book, and I want to talk about both of them because I think they talked about a lot today, but I want to hear about your deep specific habits and how it becomes such a ritual for you. So let's start with journaling. Like, obviously you're a writer anyway.
Doesn't make it easier, I would say.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what's different about writing music, writing the book versus journaling? Like,
completely different. So music, I don't even like, I kind of just like, or when I get in the studio, I kind of just let it flow through me. And I learned that from like Kanye and Jay-Z and Common. Now there are a lot of people who do write on pads, like Eminem, you know, who's amazing to me, and a lot of people I know. But how I do it personally is I just kind of like feel through it and let it stream to me, and I like go on the mic and like not necessarily freestyle it, but just piece it together. You gotta come for a session one day. But then when it comes to journaling, that's my time where I put like my sword. You know, your pen is like your sword to paper, and you are you're strategizing and you're setting your intentions of, you know, things you would like to experience. But I also like to do like gratitude. For some reason, gratitude just seems to magnetize more of the things that I'm thankful for in my life. I've seen it work in a lot of ways, and that's my belief, you know? So the things that you are grateful for, you have to let the world know that you're grateful for, because how else is it going to know to give it back to you, you know, or to bring it to you, or to the people around you. And it also is a great way for me to, you know, and I practice I am. There's so much power. So I am grateful. I am this. I am happy. I am confident. I am happy that I get to sit down and talk to my friend Jay today. You know, I'm happy I get to, whatever the case is, right? So that's what I do. And then at the end of it, of the journal, when I do the gratitude stuff, and there are times where I write how I feel, not as much. I also speak out loud by myself, you know.
The mindful messages are all written out. It's not bullet points.
There are a lot of processes I do, but when I do that journal, I sign it at the bottom of it, like a contract. And that's what I do. And then at the end of it, of the journal, when I do the gratitude stuff, and there are times where I write how I feel, not as much. I also speak out loud by myself. You know, there are a lot of processes I do, but when I do that journal, I sign it at the bottom of it, like a contract. And I sometimes I put "it is done," or I put like "so be it," because it's a declaration when I do that. And I sign it because it's that important to me. I have to sign my contracts. I have to sign things that will be upheld as an important thing. And that's how the level of importance, even more, that I hold that to. So I sign it every time.
That is so good, man. I've never heard that before. I'm going to start doing that.
It's powerful.
Yeah, I've never signed it. That's dope.
It's powerful. And Jay, does everything I write down come to fruition? No. Sometimes it does. A lot of them do. And then I realized that I'm also on God's time. So the things that I've always wanted, the things that I've desired, it may not just be the right moment in my journey for that. But that's the beauty of it, man. I'm still here. I'm still able. I'm still inspired. I'm still passionate, you know?
Beautiful.
Yeah. So that's how I do my journaling. I also have there's a book I have of like poetry too, that I write poems and stuff. I only write a few a year, honestly, but I'll fully write and
I appreciate your kind words, Julia.
Draw around the poem, and it's really a beautiful art. It's just something I do for fun. I've only written one this year, and last year I wrote a few, so maybe inspired me to write one today, but that's kind of all it is. But I don't spend too much time on it. It takes me about 5 to 12 minutes.
That's great,
max.
I appreciate your kind words, Monica.
And then I meditate after that, because it's kind of like a good transition to the energy is set for me to meditate, because when I meditate, I feel like I'm attracting these things more and giving myself the best shot of being the most productive, the most impactful that I can be. You know, so that's kind of the first thing I do when I wake up, if I can. Being a dad, though, there are times where I'll be woken up and I have to go immediately, you know, and so I come back to it later on. It's not preferred that way, but it's a good trade-off.
Yeah. What does your meditation look like? I love, because I've learned so much just in how you journal. I've never heard "so be it," "it is done," or the signature at the end. I'm going to start practicing those three. I like those a lot.
Yeah, because it's that important.
That is beautiful, man. I get that. Like what you just said about, so we sign contracts, sign checks. There's very few things we still sign.
Exactly, right? And they're
very important.
Yeah, they're important documents, and that is.
Hell yeah, you got to mow the lawn barefoot. Telling you what, one simple thing, dead ass, that you can just do differently. It doesn't even have to be grass. It just has to be the earth. Even if it's all rocks and you just got to just set them down and not walk, but you just got to touch your feet to the earth, bro. There's a reason why all of our ancestors, before the industrialization of cultures and the globalization of all sorts of capitalism or freaking economics happened, all of the cultures were deeply ingrained into their being, into their culture, a relationship with nature. It's because there's real energy and real healing energy that comes from the earth and the trees and the plants and all the animals. And even if you don't have the capacity to make all these huge leaps and steps that you might be overwhelming yourself with, that you need to do and need to change and need to do this differently, and I need to hold boundaries, and I need to start speaking truths, and I need to start eating healthy and all these things. The easiest, first, small, simple step that every single human can do, and it is free, is just go touch your feet to the earth, bro. If you haven't been doing this, mark today. It is August 17th. In 30 days, on September 7th, I'm going to ask you, if you're still here even, the difference you have experienced just touching your feet to the earth. Because I promise you that there is one.
An important document too.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what about your meditation? What does your practice look like?
It depends. I love doing guided meditation sometimes. I kind of have my own process where I and visualize the light of creation, the light of the sun, and it really filling my whole body up, and literally everything that doesn't align with that, anything that isn't that light and bright, you know what I'm saying, immediately leaves my body and goes back into the earth. And So, you know, there are times where if I'm not in nature, I imagine myself in nature and like things going back into the earth, and I like surround myself, you know, from I forgot the word, the esoteric body. I think it's like 1 inch off you, then your emotional body, then your mental body. And like, I just do the same thing. Like, it's like a shower of light. It's like hopping in the shower after you work out, like a bit of light. And whatever it is.
I'm just saying right now, Big Sean is onto some shit, bro, with this light meditations. But to answer Monica's questions, do I wake up with my intention each day, and does that something spark in that day or the week before to like for the content is what I'm assuming you're asking about. It's like, is there a rhyme or reason? To be honest, a lot of times I spend about 1 hour before each stream and just process and think, and just something may have sparked it. Something I saw, a video I saw spark an idea. As I've started streaming more and going on YouTube and Kick and all of these things, I've really started to, in the beginning, I'd wake up every day and show up, and I had no idea what I was going to do. I would just show up, click go live, and you just got the raw, real reaction. And as time has gone, I've sharpened the sword to try and have a little bit better of a structure. So each day this week specifically is going to build on today and tomorrow, Wednesday and Friday. And then, you know, it's just a process of, beforehand, I didn't take the hour to build the stream. It would just happen spontaneously. And I'm just trying to be a little bit more intentional, because each and every one of your guys' comments saying how I inspire you, I help this, I help that, I've done this, thank you so much, all of that stuff, it really does touch me, touch my heart, my soul. It really makes me so happy and proud of myself, because I'm accomplishing my mission of just trying to positively impact people while also making sure everybody stays open-minded. And so I just want to have a little bit more structure and be able to accomplish my mission more effectively. So I'm just trying to sharpen the sword, if that makes sense.
I kind of like cater to how I'm feeling. So from there, I'll like, if I have like something wrong with my stomach, I'll like, for some reason I associate green with healing energy, right? And this comes from years of like practice. Or I associate royal blue with power, you know, the power of the universe. I associate like red with love of the universe, the love and support of the universe. And like, I represent like the violet flame of Saint Germain, like to cleanse.
I love all of you guys. Thank you so much for all of your kind words. You guys really, really do impact me every day. There may be our content creators that say that same thing, and I can't necessarily just assume that they're not being genuine. But when I tell you I love you and I appreciate you, and I'm just so thankful you guys come and hang out with me and listen to me and talk to me and click my videos and buy my merch and just show up every day and all the time, like it really does impact me, and it inspires me, it motivates me, it drives me, it fuels me, it comforts me, it affirms me, and I just appreciate y'all, for real.
Things that are holding me back. Wow. Right? So I have like quite a process, and I break it down in a book, and afterwards I feel just, it really makes a big difference. And you know, I read this book, The Hidden Messages in Water, I believe it's called, and it talked about, you know, there's like itty bitty microscopic crystals in water, and one of the part of the book, they experiment of like how positively when you speak to water, like, hey, you're amazing, I love you, keep going, like, you're beautiful. And then they had another water glass or container of water where they said, like, you suck, it's never, you know, real negative. And you look at the crystals, and one is like a beautiful snowflake looking crystal, and then the other one is like distorted and all damaged. And we are 70-80% water. So these things, when you write these affirmations down, or when you say them out loud, or when you journal, these things have a real effect on you tremendously, like scientifically. It's not even like a woo-woo type of thing. It's not even up for debate. You know what I'm saying? It's literally scientific for the people who are more, you know, need the proof, as opposed to, you know, more analytical than like opinion based. So I just want to stress the importance of it. It really is. And by the way, the most honorable people that I've met, and like what I consider to be successful, and I don't mean richest, I just mean successful in like the impact, what they're doing, how they are. They meditate. They all, you know, from my favorite rappers down to you, you know, down to anyone who I just really admire. And you can meditate in your own ways. They're like, I know like Janae does different meditations, you know, through sound healing or mirror meditations. I know people who do shower meditations, walking. There's no wrong way to meditate either. That's another misconception. There's no wrong way to do it. The fact that you take the intention out, or if you focus on your breathing, the fact that you take the time out to be that conscious of yourself, over time, you will get more and more into it. It's like anything you do, and you will see the effects of it.
Isn't that true? that's dead ass, bro. There really is no rhyme or reason, bro, to meditation. What, like, if you really break it down, bro, what is meditation? Like, what is it actually doing? What are you actually doing when you meditate? You're just like consciously aware and in the present moment. That's like really all it is. You're consciously aware of yourself in the present moment. So you don't necessarily have to be like sitting in the freaking crisscross applesauce with your like palms all out, like, oh, you don't have, it doesn't have to be like that. You just have to be consciously aware of yourself in the present moment for an extended period of time. That's what meditating is. I love you guys. I just, to be honest, I like learning, bro, and I like processing information with a group of individuals. That's like one thing I've like really grown to love about live streaming is like processing my thoughts with a group of people. It's so cool.
Yeah. What was have you ever meditated with another rapper that was interesting or anything like that? Like anyone that had an interesting practice that I wouldn't know about? Does Eminem meditate?
You know what? I have never meditated with Eminem, but Eminem is a very like amazing person, so I wouldn't be surprised. I know Jay-Z does.
Wow.
I haven't meditated with him, but I know he does.
Yeah.
And you know, they're all different ways and forms.
Of course.
You know, sometimes just sitting and visualizing and like seeing these things is a form of meditation. It could be your way. So you have to find out these ways that work for you. Yeah. Just like therapy, it's like I can tell you how therapy worked for me, but you may go to a therapist that isn't right for you and be like, oh, therapy is whack, but that's just, you know, a specific situation. A lot of times therapy for me has pushed me to the edge of realization and has been the extra push that I needed to, sometimes I already knew the answer, but sometimes I needed to talk it through. And
yes, please. I'm so glad that you're safe, Lacey. Please don't do any breath work with me on stream if you are driving. You should just be able to be chilling because you can have a DMT breakthrough at any given time. I'm just letting you know. You can like literally have a full-fledged breakthrough with dimethyltryptamine by doing some of these breathwork experiences. So you just be in a place where you're safe to do that. I guess wherever you're safe to fucking trip on DMT, bro.
sometimes I needed to really exercise, and sometimes I did learn something new that awakened the truth in me through therapy and having someone that I could confide in that wasn't a family member, that wasn't a best friend, that I wasn't in a relationship with, and was able to apply it to all of those other relationships and in a very successful way.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in the book, you talk about how, I think it was like in 2016, you said you nearly got addicted to Adderall when you were touring with Rihanna. And I was thinking, like, how do you stop yourself? Like, in that moment, like, what was the habit or the tool or the practice? Was it therapy? Was it meditation? What was it that helped you recover from that?
Man, so first of all, Adderall is like synthetic, you know, I don't know, they say like heroin, all these things, right? Like, just a lot to it. And I'm really into Eastern medicine personally. You know, I used to have a real bad heart problem that I fixed through literally taking magnesium and some other supplements that a doctor told me that I had to get surgery for. They told me they had to cut my heart open and put a pacemaker in it, you know? So when I started taking Adderall, it's because I was putting myself on a clock that didn't exist. I was putting myself under pressure and I was living in a fear-based way. And I started taking Adderall because I wanted to accomplish more. And it was very...
Did it work?
It worked, but at the expense of so many things. Honestly, the expense of affecting my soul and changing the person that I was and depleting my body. It shut it off. It creates synthetic dopamine in your brain. So it creates all this dopamine, but your natural dopamine that is responsible for your happiness, for your inspiration, your creativity, who makes you who you are, it shuts off.
Can we just acknowledge right now that that's literally how all Western medicine is to remove your natural dopamine that creates real happiness. And if your real happiness is replaced with synthetic happiness, how long do you actually genuinely feel that you could go on feeling synthetic happiness and not be depressed and miserable and have it change you and not see the world the same? You know what I'm saying?
It off. And after a while, you're kind of relying on this synthetic dopamine only. And I remember as time went on, I would go in the studio and I feel like I couldn't do anything without it. And that's when I knew I had a real problem with it. So I went cold turkey. And that was probably the second bout of depression in my life that I went through. That was like, that's when I was like wanting to kill myself. Like, I was just like, my mind was playing all these tricks on me, right? And it didn't matter that I had a big ass house in Beverly.
Yeah, just like Julia says. You don't need to pay for a pill. You just got to do some breath work, breathing Breathing is free. You can heal yourself, bro.
Really heals. It didn't matter that I had millions of dollars in the account. And it didn't matter because as great as a lot of those things are, they're still separate. I'm wearing a Lincoln Park shirt. Chester, I can't speak for him, God rest his soul, but like, who would think that like, oh, that someone, who's one of the biggest rock stars in the world in a band, regardless of, what they talked about in their music, like would do that, or this, Kurt Cobain, all these things, right? So it's because it's all separate. And I'm not saying that money can't make you happy, by the way. I don't like when I don't like when rich people get on camera and be like, money isn't everything.
Yeah.
Like, it isn't everything, but it's a lot.
It's
a resource that is very needed in anything you need to do in this world.
I agree.
You need it. So it is important. It's very important. I'm not going to sit here and say it isn't, but it was separate from what I had to deal with at the time. So yeah, it was, I went cold turkey, and that's when I stopped everything I was doing, and I called my mom, who we weren't on great terms, and she came out and was in my house with me and introduced. My mom has always, shout out my dad too. My dad is with me today too. I love my dad. And he's like, man, make sure you shout me out too. Like, yeah, I'm gonna shout you out too. Like, my dad is great. But my mom at that point, in those certain points in my life, just a few key points, she knew what she had a solution to offer me always. And I really appreciate that. It's something I hope to do for my kid and kids. And she was like, introduce me to, she was who put me on meditation. She just would always introduce me to certain things. Try this method. And then I started realizing how connected physical, mental, emotional, spiritual are. And I started working out. I started prioritizing myself. I started putting me first. Started reconnecting with things I wanted to do. Started trying new things. Jumping out of planes. I was going to the gun range. Just trying things out that I was like, hey, that's interesting. Let me try it. And it really helped me reconnect with myself. I started watching anime again. And then, I had to take a break from the studio because I couldn't think of anything. And then I finally got back in and was inspired again. And life is the greatest inspiration. But what I can say is to people who are addicted to Adderall and like other drugs, that synthetic high is very temporary, and it's at an expense. And it's different when people who have ADHD who necessarily need it, but there are even other ways to deal with it. And I guarantee you, they will take less of your body. These things, like when these prescriptions, they mess up your kidneys, your liver. And as simple as that sounds, your liver, your gut, messing up your gut, your gut is your second brain. It dictates so much more than we've been led on to know. I think that's why Roddy is so, into the food, because it's not just food. It's like, it's so much more than that. Mm-hmm. So I know I'm running on and on, but my point is that it was very tough, but you get through it, and there on the other side of it, you come out as like a true champion, and you're the source of it. Yeah. And there's no better drug or high than being high off life. There's no better thing, because you're the actual drug. You're the actual source of it. It's not.
Fuck. I've been clean and sober. Let's see here. It says 2,842 days. And that really, if I'm being honest with you, there is no better feeling knowing that I was able to do that myself, and that I'm the one that did that. And you know what I'm trying to say, bro? Sammy Sweetheart's in the house. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? You know what I mean? You can do it. What's up? What's up? Oh, let me get this for you. I don't know how long you're going to be here, Sammy, but I think you're already on the kick. But at the end of every stream, we're just a kick only. We will be going kick only in 13 minutes to do some breath work. And then I didn't anticipate I was going to go live for 4 hours today. I got some shit I got to take care of, but we got to get some breath work in. So just letting you know, I'll be over on kick. We're going to go for, like I said, about 12 more minutes. Yeah, let's keep going.
That's something you have to take to get to there. It's like you are, and you can soar. You can go higher than ever.
Go higher.
Yeah, for real.
How do you feel your grandmother would feel reading these pages?
My grandma was one of the first people to give me a book of, it was a book about King Solomon, and that book changed my life. And it talks about the strategies of King Solomon, how he ran his business, how he strategized, how King Solomon, he wanted wisdom. That's what he wanted, and that's why he was granted everything else. That's why he was the richest man who ever lived, is because that's not what he sought. He didn't seek the power. He sought the wisdom to help people, and God gave him the resources by making him the richest man, right? So anyway, so my grandma,
it's just weird hearing someone talk about Solomon when we just know about like the Seal of Solomon and the magic aspect and Kabbalah and all that stuff. Just saying.
She was like one of the first female black captains in World War II. She was one of the first like female police officers, a teacher, a counselor. She was incredible, right? Her and my granddad met in World War II, and she was the example of hard work, the example of nothing to something. She lived on the street called Outer Drive, which was that's where Marvin Gaye used to live when he lived in Detroit. It's like a real prestigious street, and I can imagine that was like one of her proudest accomplishments. So I really got love for her. I think she would read this book and be proud. You know, I think so. And I think that, you know, as a scholar, she would probably be like correcting some of my grammar in the book and, you know, things of that. But she would be very proud. She was very strict in a lot of ways, and she believed that education, going to college, was the way to a better life. And I went a different way. I didn't go to college. I was like, instead I went to the music. And she, you know, I had respect for her because I always had good grades. But even when I chose the exact opposite of what she wanted me to do, she supported me wholeheartedly. And I spent all the bonds she saved up, all the money she saved up for college, I spent it all on studio sessions. And I can't
What's up, Sammy? Sammy's over on Kick. Let's go.
imagine how mad or how pissed off that might have made her. But through it all, she supported me, and I just appreciate it. She just shows me how much she valued family. And I was able to buy a house for her and my mom before they passed. She actually saw the music pay off. And we used to watch all these Westerns and Jeopardy and all these things. And I remember she was watching Jeopardy, and I was actually a question on Jeopardy. And, you know, I talked to her on the phone, and she was so like, wow, like, you know. And it used to tear me apart when things weren't working out, and I was spending her money on the studio sessions, and we would have Sunday dinner every Sunday, and I would have to go and sit there, and she'd be like, well, what's going on with the music? You know, why don't you just apply to community college? Like, you could have been halfway with a degree by now. It's been 2 years. It's been, you know, all this time, and it broke my heart every Sunday. And I did give up. You know, at one point I did give up. So at one point I was over it. I was over music. It wasn't going anywhere.
When was that?
That was after I met Kanye.
Yeah, so you rapped, and then he didn't get in touch with you for 2 years after.
Yeah, and it was like a blank, you know, and I turned down my scholarships I had to college. I graduated school with like a 3.7 GPA. I was like, you know, I had like a lot of academic scholarships, all these things, and I turned it down. And then it was non-responsive, but in hindsight, I look back, he was blowing up in his own right. He was busy, you know. It's not.
Can we all just resonate with each other for a second? And just, I can remember a whole bunch of times, bro, where I felt like giving up, dude. Bro, I felt like giving up, like fucking with this whole content thing multiple times over the last like year and a half, bro. I've had those moments, to being dead ass, where I'm just like having maybe it's imposter syndrome. Maybe it's not. I'm not sure. Maybe it's the fear of failure. Maybe it's the fear of success. Maybe it's just the pressure. Maybe it's just the consistent grind. I don't know what it is, but have you ever felt like giving up, bro? And then if it's not something that's happening right now, and if it is happening right now, I hope that I can just do whatever I can and say that prevents you from giving up right now. But if you look back on times where you felt like giving up, but you didn't give up, because realistically, like I've said this before, if you look back on all the specific moments in your life that you thought was going to be the end of it all, you weren't going to make it through, it was going to break you, and you're still here today, you actually made it through every single one of those things, which would then lead me to believe that you have a 100% success rate on all the hard things you went through, which would then mean you've never not made it through it, which would mean you're unstoppable, bro. You're unstoppable, dude. You can do anything. You've made it through all the hard times. All right, so check this out. How are y'all doing? How was today's stream? Damn, we're like 3 hours and 52 minutes in, bro. I didn't know I was going to jump up on here and hit a 4-hour stream ski. I had a lot of fun. Sometimes that energy just comes. I just get up in here and all of a sudden I just get energized, bro. And I could just go and go and go and go and go. I know that's part-time. You be streaming forever, Sammy. Oh yeah, the Discord. Let me grab the link real fast for everybody who's not in the Discord. Because the Team Human doesn't ever end, bro. We're always here. There's actually people that are, I think, C. Dean, you're up in the video chat. Invite to server. Let me just get a copied link. If you're not in the Discord, join the Discord, bro. Join the Discord. I just dropped it in the chat. If you're seeing this video later, you can find my name and the Tripoverdrip in the description below. I'm trying to do this YouTube thing in the description below. You will find all the information to every one of my platforms. But yeah, so how are y'all doing today? I don't know. Sometimes I get up in here and as the stream like flows on, you know, as it like starts to flow and the things I said in the beginning like really resonated in the end. It just feels like the whole thing was just a flow ski, you know, the ebb and flow of life and all intelligent creation. You're right. It's a great day for a great day. Is there a vid chat? Ooh, see, I want you chatting on the live streams though, player. So just know, here in about 5 minutes, we are just going to there's probably a moderator in here that could create a video chat, like a stream chat or something. But yeah, it's a great way to start the Monday, bro. I just came out here and just hella productive. Now I'm just gotta go mail out some merch. Sammy, I know I said Monday. I'm making the tie dye tonight, and then I'll be shipping your shirt out tomorrow. I didn't anticipate some situations, but your shirt will be sent out tomorrow. Apple Juice's shirt, Lawrence and Manda's shirt, Vox Balder's shirt, Cobra Kai's shirt. Those are all getting mailed out today. Hell yeah! What's good? Hey, oh wait, I can't mail them out yet because they haven't been signed. I have to do it. Fuck! I forgot to have her sign them yesterday. Dude, I smoke so much sometimes, bro. Smoke so much sometimes, bro. And I just be lifing, bro. I'm just, dude. So think about this, bro. Remember how earlier I said I break it down into 15-minute increments, bro? I got so much shit in my mind sometimes, bro. I get space cased about things that I don't normally get space cased about most days, and it's just the flow. It's just the flow of things. It's just the flow of things. Oh, the link? Yeah, check it. Oh, here, we can do that. Let me go like this. Let me just pull it up. Actually, I haven't been over here for a while. A few streams ago, my whole browser got up, dude. And so I lost all my tabs, dude. I lost all my tabs, bro. If you want to help support the channel, tripoverdrip.shop. I'm dropping it in all chats. Tripoverdrip.shop. We've got all sorts of good stuffs. The shirts I'm sending out and that are signed are these tie-dyes. I think I have one bare tie-dye left because Julia just bought one of each actually yesterday or over the weekend. These tie-dyes are signed, limited edition. As soon as the limited amount has been reached, they will be taken down off the sites. The next one, dude, I think I'm doing this. What about this design? I will focus my energy on what's good for me. What about this design right here on like just a blue and white tie-dye? Pretty dope. It would be sick. And then I'm thinking about maybe just like a green and white one that has a green and white one that just has like the alien on it. You know what I mean? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right, YouTube, Twitch. We're just going to be on Kick. I love y'all. Twitch will be first to go. Bye, Twitch. I love you. If nobody's told you today, I'm proud of you.